Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the KillJoy Jake YouTube channel. I am here with the illustrious and absolutely amazing Master Chaos. What's going on, man?
Hey man, thank you for having me. This is probably the first time I've actually been on your channel. I think.
It is. You're like the third guest. You are the number three. Three's a
Oh
magic
man,
number.
that's great. Well, I'm honored. I'm honored to be here and illustrious. I've never been called that. I like that. I don't know what it means, but it sounds good. So,
I meant it in a positive manner. I'm not even sure what it is either. So
well, I'll take it. Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect, man. So you're working on a movie, right?
I am. We actually, as of today, we started pre-production. I just met my line producer, who's like the person who basically handles all the paperwork and crap on the set, so I don't have to worry about it. It's fun talking about casting, figuring out budgets, figuring out locations. It's gonna be tight. We're doing a feature, a 90-minute movie in 6 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
6 days.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It's near impossible, but they've done it before. So we'll see what happens. But it's called the Headless Horseman. It's a take on the Headless Horseman story, but with it's kind of like, well, I guess the best way to describe it is it's the Headless Horseman meets John Wick.
Oh man! Oh, that sounds insane.
Yeah, it's gonna be insane. Yeah.
So is the I'm sorry, I hate to ask questions. That like if I'm stepping too far, please tell me to stop. I don't want to spoil anything, of course. But is it the Headless Horseman that is going John Wick on other people?
It is.
Or it is. Okay. Cool. I had to ask. My curiosity was piqued.
Absolutely. It's kind of like The Crow. I guess you could see it as The Crow, except our guy's gonna have a giant pumpkin on his head. So
nice.
So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, you know what? At this level of filmmaking, you know, the budgets that they give you have to really love making movies to put up with this. And I can't think of anything else I'd rather do. So
that's awesome, man. You're living your dream, right?
Yeah.
There you go. That's awesome.
Exactly.
It's badass. Want to say hi to a few people in the chat. What is up going on? What's going on, Tori? How's it hanging? Muffy? What's up, Muffy? I am so bored. I hope you're not bored now. If you're bored now, I'm not doing my job. Right. Denisha, what's going on? What's up? Lantonio is here. We got a bunch of people in the chat. Thank you guys for showing up. Heck yeah. Happy 420, by the way, everybody. I see that already being celebrated in the chat. We're going to talk a little bit about Scream 6 tonight, if you're into that, Master Chaos.
I'm in it to win it. And I've been waiting for a while to chat with you and Craven about my concerns and my fears for 6.
Do you want to just jump right into that? I'm curious what you have to say about it.
Well, I'll say this. I'm old, man. I'm gonna be 43 next Tuesday. Actually, my birthday.
Oh, nice.
26. So I grew up with this franchise. I've seen franchises rise and fall. I was there at the beginning with Leprechaun, only to see him return to the hood twice. You know, I have a weird relationship with sequels and then Halloween, all those iterations. So when I start hearing stuff about, oh, now we're gonna break new ground, now we're going to go, now we're gonna, what's the phrase, the expectations phrase that they use for Last Jedi? What was that phrase? I'm blanking on the wording.
Oh man, like,
you know what I mean? When they said we're gonna not downplay expectations, we're gonna subvert
expectations. There we go. Okay.
No, that scares me. No. I mean, I thought the Billy thing was almost a bridge too far.
Yeah, I feel that it's a bit silly, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a cooler way they could have went about doing that. I even talked about what if they did like, and I think I've brought this up to you before, and you were like, I don't know how I feel about that. But wouldn't flashback scenes with Billy and Stu have been a little better than that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of Force Ghost Billy. You know what I mean? That's my thing. I would have rather have seen Stu and Billy back in the 90s, like collaborating in cahoots, talking about like their next move. That would have been more interesting, and gotten the Billy is like Sam is Billy's daughter reveal. You know what I mean? That would have been a cooler way to do it, I think.
I agree. So I don't know. I'm worried. I'm really worried what they're gonna do with it, and I don't know if you've heard the commentary on 5 yet. Have you listened to the commentary track?
I have not. I've watched some of the behind the scenes, but I haven't listened to their commentary on the film.
Well, there's a couple things in there that jump out at me. Number one, almost like the way they were kind of talking about the making of the movie felt very much like, I mean, that they were fans, but they weren't. I don't know. There was something about the context, because it's mostly the writers talking. The radio silence barely talks. It's mostly James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick sort of taking the reins. And so it's one of those conversations where you can say like, huh? So nobody said, well, we probably shouldn't go in that direction. Everyone was kind of like on board. I mean, they even say how Kevin Williamson had wanted nothing to do with it for the longest time.
And that's scary. That's scary. Right. Yeah.
And then like Nev Campbell was like giving them notes like, no, don't do this, don't do that. I wouldn't say this, I wouldn't say that. And then at the end, well, this is sort of off topic. At the end, they make the joke, hey, why don't we go make another one? And I forget who said, I don't know who says it, but they say, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So I bet they were working on 6 all the way back then when they recorded that commentary for them to say that. And that's my feeling on it, but I don't know.
They had to be, right? I mean, because like we've learned a lot of information in the past couple of months about this new film, especially the fact that they booked the Montreal location 2 days before the film even came out. Like it was January 12th, two days before it even comes out. They had to have been working on it. And even though I think the writers had that interview, right, where they're kind of talking about like, oh yeah, we thought this was our one chance at Scream. We didn't plan on doing any other sequels. And after watching the ending of Scream 5, I kind of believed them. But now I'm starting to think maybe they fed us some stuff that wasn't necessarily true.
Oh no, I don't believe anything they say.
But maybe that's a good thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe. But like if you're making them, if Paramount has it and they're like, okay, we're gonna make a new thing. They're not just gonna make one and forget it. They're gonna plan for at least a trilogy. So my guess is they have up to 7 planned out, and that's how they got Nev and Courtney to come back. And I would suspect that they're signed on. They've already been signed on for 6. Since part 5, and that's probably how they got them back. A guaranteed 2-picture deal, and then we'll see what happens with 7. So I'm guessing that's what happened. And the whole thing about David not knowing or knowing about the script, in the commentary they say they told him before he got the script. So who do you believe? I'm gonna lean toward I'm gonna believe Dewey. They blindsided him, but I don't know.
I don't like, to me, it's like, I don't know if he would do it. Like, do you think he would do it? Like, just if he was so against that? I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't in the room. I couldn't tell you. So
I was having this conversation with my wife, she's a big Scream fan too. And I said, if they came to me and I was Dewey and said, hey, we want to bring you back to part 5, but we're going to kill you, I would have said, no, I'm not coming back. Dewey's going to live.
And that's understandable. Yeah.
Nev Campbell said the same thing. She goes, they're not killing Sidney. So maybe they've hinted at the fact that she's not going to be in this one because they were going to pull some shenanigans. I don't know.
I don't see, like, killing Dewey's one thing, but killing Sidney's a whole nother ballpark, I think. Like, she is the kind of the face of the franchise next to Ghostface, I think. She is just as iconic in a lot of ways. It would be kind of whack to kill her, I think. I don't know. I just don't think it would work. Even, like, if they set it up, like, Scream 7 comes out, right? And the final act is Sidney Prescott taking down the final Ghostface or whatever, but she dies amidst it. There's something about that I wouldn't be happy with it. It's this kind of the same thing I feel about Laurie Strode. I don't think I want to see her die. After all this time of fighting Michael Myers, after all this time of fighting Ghostface, I just don't want to see those characters go. They deserve a happy ending, I guess is what I'm trying to say, in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think not only because we love the character, but because of what she represents to horror fandom. She is the ultimate Scream queen. I mean, she's the ultimate survivor. Consistently, Laurie Strode has offshoots. So, here she's a consistent heroine. So for her to die, what does that say? Like, what is the message to survivors? Hey, don't worry, you'll eventually die.
By the thing that's causing you trauma, right? Like, I don't like that. That's not the message I want these films to send, and it completely loses that if you do end up killing the character.
If you honestly, here's the thing. I think they learned a lesson from killing Dewey. I don't think they're going to kill anybody else off. But even if they kill off Gale, I think you lose. I mean, already people are coming into part 6 really scared. Even the people who liked part 5 are still worried because now people who like the characters in part 5 are worried about what's going to happen in part 6 even more. Yeah. So you kill off a legacy character again. franchise is over, man. You just put the nail in the coffin there. I mean, there's no coming back from that. I can't imagine if they make a part 7 that a lot of people are going to be jumping all over it. As much as I think the love for part 5 was, and I think just because people wanted something new. But now now you start playing with sacred cows, and you're going to start losing your audience, and it's the people the repeat business people. Those are the people you want to keep happy.
Right. I totally agree, man. And like a big thing about, like, at least for me, for Killing Dewey, I think it's not as controversial as some will say. It's the one thing I really do appreciate about it is now whenever we have the legacy characters that are still surviving in a Ghostface chase sequence, it's suspenseful again. Like we genuinely don't know if these new people are going to kill these characters or not. Is that what they have in mind? I don't know. So now if Gale Weathers is there's rumors that it might be a Gale Weathers centered movie. So let's say she's getting chased by Ghostface. I feel like it's just going to be that much more suspenseful this time around, opposed if we were watching like that sequence in 4 where she's getting chased through the barn or whatever. There's a part of me that's like in the back of my head saying they're not going to kill her. Like, come on, she's a legacy character. No way. Now that they've done it though, I feel like we're in this. There's so much more suspense surrounding those two characters, Sidney and Gale. If Sidney comes back, of course. How do you feel about that? Do you think they should have kept Dewey alive, or do you kind of agree with that? Like, do you think it's more suspenseful now?
I think what made the franchise so interesting is that they had survivors, that they had returning characters, because it's Jason doesn't have returning characters. I mean, sort of. I mean, returning characters in the sense that, but played by different actors. Yeah. But Scream is so unique because of that, because the actors love making these movies. And let's face it, they're not getting a lot of movie work. I don't think Courtney Cox has been in a movie since part 4. So, and this is important to them, and it's important to the fans. And I think the fact that, it's like, Bruce Willis is sick, but if he kept making diehards and, like, let's say they were consistently good, we wouldn't want him to die off and have someone else take over, because that wouldn't be the same thing. Or James Bond got killed off, which sucks. But that was a bad mistake. But these characters that we love and that we respect and that we honor, I think should be treated differently. And I think killing Dewey, I just don't think it was a good move. And I think ultimately it will hurt the franchise. And depending on how good 6 is, I feel that one's not going to do as well as 5, just because a lot of people were burned by 5. And just, I mentioned it to you before, my daughter, she's 13, loves the franchise. She's seen the first one like 40 times. Loves it. She's only seen 5 one time, and she'll never go back.
I remember you telling me about that. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit. I'm just like, I understand that. I totally get it. I get not liking that, not caring for that. I just, to me, it's like I finally feel like these movies are scary again in a way. But I see what you're saying, because that's something that's only something you can get from Scream, is characters that are like consistently in every single film up until this point. Like I totally get that. And Dewey's such a great character. In a lot of ways, he is the heart and soul of this franchise. But I'm glad that at least they gave him like a hero's death, and it wasn't just like an opening kill. Haha, we killed Dewey. Get wrecked. You know what I mean? Like that would have been like, okay, like, yeah, that's a little cheap. I feel like at least it wasn't done in the worst way it possibly could have been. So there's that. There's that at least. But
then also, sorry to harp on Dewey a little bit, but the one thing that I think it was the biggest mistake was David Arquette is the one guy in of those 3 who would have come back for free. He would have done Ghostface in space, Ghostface underground. He would have done all of those for free, because he loves it so much and he loves Dewey so much. So they literally killed off their cheapest actor, and that's unfortunate, just production wise,
And Courtney was even asking to be killed on the set of 4. Like we knew that already. What was she saying any of that during Scream 5? It's a big question. It's up in the air, I guess.
Yeah.
I do totally understand that. I mean, he's so passionate about the franchise. Like in the behind the scenes of what I have watched of it, he's like, just the way he talks about it is amazing. I mean, he's so passionate about this character. It's obviously a big part of his life. I mean, it's how he met one of his wives, Courtney Cox. He had a kid with her and all that. So I think that it sucks, but moving forward with the franchise, I hope that they can do something different with 6. Do you think it would be a positive thing for them to change up the formula, or do you feel like they have kind of changed too much so far?
My biggest concern from watching you and Craven cover it is they're going back to college. I don't want that at all. I think that's so cheap, and it's if you want to stand out as your own story, don't remake the other ones. You already did it with five. Yeah, fine. Try something different, and maybe it'll hit. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll just feel weird if it's like in a city. I don't know. Montreal's a weird choice. I don't know what's good, what that's about, but I don't know. I really don't want them to do a college thing. So 100%, if they don't do that, at least thumbs up from me in terms of locations.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Montreal is pretty gorgeous. I will say, yeah, it kind of shocked me the first time I read that. I was like, what are we doing here? Like, this is strange. Something I've learned a little more, like researching into like why people go to Montreal to film stuff is typically to film like New York City stuff because it's way cheaper to film there than in New York City. So I understand that, and that could be kind of cool. That could like kind of once again breathe more life into this franchise if we have Ghostface running down like the alleyways of New York City. If that was kind of the setting this time around. I mean, Gale Weathers does work in New York City, and like that was even a conversation, if not the last conversation between Dewey and Gale in Scream 5, talking about how like, well, things didn't work out in New York. We could have a New York setting Scream. How do you feel about that? Would that even work? Like in a metropolis with Ghostface running around?
It would certainly feel weird, Ghostface takes Manhattan. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
It would
punching people's heads off, right?
For me, I didn't like 3 because of the setting, and I normally like Los Angeles-based movies, but I don't know. New York would be a strange choice. I don't know. I'd have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, execution is everything at the end of the day. I think a new setting could be interesting. I mean, the last 2 films were at Woodsboro. So if they were to change that up, I'd be like, okay, I'll check it out. It could be cool. I want to thank Bob Hunt for becoming a new member. Thank you so much, Bob. Appreciate that. Heck yeah. Gonna get a cool little emblem next to your name now. So there you go. But yeah, so another thing with Scream 6. I feel like with the casting for Scream 5, we saw that like, Jack Quaid and obviously Mikey Madison were the killers in the last film. Was that a little too obvious casting people who have kind of played crazy people in the past like that? Do you think if they cast someone like Samara Weaving, for instance, in this new film, is it kind of too obvious that she would be the killer because she's worked with Radio Silence in the past as like, yes, the protagonist, but also a vicious wife in Ready or Not?
That's a good point. I never really made the connections when I saw who was being cast for 5. I honestly didn't even want to start guessing because it felt like, the fun is to let the movie play out and let it evolve for you. So I don't know. I would say I think if they're going to cast outside the box, I think that would probably be the biggest note I would give them is to certainly get fresh faces because I think that helps the movie stand out. That actually helps new actors get noticed. That's always very nice. But if they start hiring, like Lance Henriksen and Steve Railsback and like all these like these guys who played Lance has already been in the franchise, but start these kind of like psycho people, then maybe, but Samara would be amazing. But if she's the killer, that'd be unfortunate because then she'd only be in one of the movies, unless it's a cliffhanger.
Could be. I'm just saying.
You never know.
Never know.
I just hope that they cast it right because if we get Christina Carpenter, she has to be Latina, and if she's not, then that would be really strange.
Right, right.
Because where did they get it from? Billy? Because no. So there's a lot that has to be thought of, and I'm hoping that they're thinking correctly and not necessarily like, oh, we can get Jennifer Lopez. I think Jennifer Lopez might be too big. I think she kind of break the illusion, the meta illusion of the movies.
Right, right.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know anything about casting yet, though, right?
No, we know nothing pretty much. I mean, I guess they are like big. I think Big Screen Leaks put something out about like, where they are casting for the movie, but who knows how reliable that is. I will probably get some more information in like the coming month is what I'm thinking. Like May, we'll probably get some more information because they start filming in June, so we will have to know something by then. At that point, do you think any of the surviving characters from Scream 5 make it through the opening scene? Because I think Chad's a goner, man. I think Chad's biting it right off the get-go is what has been my theory lately. So
I've seen you talk about that, and I agree. I think rewatching the movie, he's the one that probably stuck out the least to me after a while. I'm like, he could go. So and apparently he was supposed to go, according to the commentary. He was supposed to die, but then I guess they liked him too much, so they just kind of they just shot him in the back, going, "I'm alive." So absolutely, I think they should get rid of him, and they're going to keep Mindy. I think they know that they can't kill their Randy.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tara's going to stay. The wild card is Sam. Is she a killer, or does she continue to be our semi-catatonic? What's the best way to put it? Mentally unhinged young woman. I mean, how do we? That's who knows. She is the wild card for me.
I'm interested to see what they do with her character, because like there's a part of me that wants to see like Sam and Tara's relationship build in the next one, and I feel like you can go somewhere with that now that we've established some stuff about like their relationship getting back on track and stuff. Now it's going to be all about Sam protecting Tara in this next movie. How does that play into the third act? How does that play into a new set of killers? It's got to be something interesting. Can't just be same old, I think. And there's a lot that they can do with that to make it interesting again. Like I was kind of talking about how maybe they could like the new killers this time around gaslight Sam into thinking that one of her friends is the killer, and it's not, and she kills that person, and the killers are like, well, you killed someone, it's murder, going to jail, Sam. That could be messed up. It'd be a really messed up avenue that they could go with this. I don't know if Scream's gonna ever get that dark. In my sick and twisted imagination, I would kind of love it. but who knows? Something along those lines I think would be fun though.
Yeah, that's actually kind of that would be actually pretty dang sweet for a cliffhanger if the real killers frame Sam for a murder and then she gets arrested for it, and then what would 7 be? Because how would you make it a slasher if she's in prison? So I don't know. Maybe it's Prison Bound, a prison slasher movie. Who knows?
Scream prison breakout movie.
Exactly. Yeah, and why not? Anything could happen. But yeah, I do. I in terms of formula, I think they do need to change it up, but not too much. I think it still needs to be fun. Number one, you have to have a fun movie. You have to be able to laugh and have a good time. It has to be a ride, and locations don't really matter as long as you have good characters that you enjoy and you're going to be rooting for either rooting for them to die, rooting for them to live. Either way, it's a fun time for everybody.
I think that's the most important thing when it comes to a new Scream movie. Just as long as it's fun, because that's what these movies are at their core. I think is really fun slasher flicks that comment on the genre. That's the biggest thing to me. That's like number one. If you don't have that, you're not a Scream film, is how I feel. So as long as they keep that, if they want to deviate a little bit from the typical like murder mystery style that they do, like maybe change it up, have it all be in one location, for instance, I think that could be cool. But I don't know. I don't know if that's ever going to be the case with a Scream movie. You kind of have to like have it spend time over like the course of like a week and a half or like 2 weeks, however long these movies usually take place over, and get to know the characters. That's really big when it comes to these movies. The characters are another really big thing. They have to cast this next movie correctly. I feel like those two are the big things that if they don't have those, you're not a Scream movie. You got to have that. You can deviate all you want here and there, but if you don't have good characters, you don't have a fun movie. It's not a Scream film.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes the first one so rewatchable and such a fun movie is you feel like you're one of the friends. You feel like you're part of the gang. You feel like you're part of the family, and you're having fun with them. You're joking with them. You're laughing with them. And then when shit happens, you're like, oh, what's going to happen? And I mean, as much as I love the sequels, I feel like the first one is so perfect, and none of the other ones have really captured that essence of like, I feel like I'm one of these kids, and I'm going through this journey with them. So and it's tough. It is tough to capture that because you need that. I mean, there's nobody else like Matthew Lillard or Jamie Kennedy, and these guys are just out of this world, charismatic and interesting to watch. It's hard to find someone like that. I mean, I think Kirby comes close to somebody that's like really unique. Like, fuck, I want to be friends with her, man. She's cool. It's rare to find those people, but that's what makes these movies pop. Those kind of characters.
And you have, yeah, like you said, like Kirby, you have like Joel in Scream 2. I really like Joel. You have a few standout characters in the sequels, but none of them are as perfect as that original cast. I do agree. I do agree with that. And to recapture that magic is really tough, especially when you're working with the sixth movie in the franchise, the fifth sequel. That's going to be hard to do, I think, in 6. Hopefully, I hope they do it, though. I really hope that this film is a better movie than Scream 5. I think it can. I think it has the potential to be as well. I really did. I enjoyed 5. It was good, but it does, like, the more I watch it, the more I'm like, yeah, there's a few things here and there that are like, okay, you probably could have done that differently. But I hope they take this one like a little more seriously. They take it in a new direction that is necessary. That's a big thing. If you just remake 2, I have that on my shelf. I have a DVD of that, and I can put that in right now. I don't have to do updates on that every single day and go to the theater and to see Scream 2 again. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to have to do that. I want to see a new movie. I want to see actual Scream 6. Don't give me just Scream 2, but it takes place in 2023.
Absolutely. That would honestly kill this entire new version if they're just ripping off part 2. And they're in a very precarious spot because when I walked out of 5, and I told you I honestly didn't know how to feel. I didn't know if I liked it or hated it, and I'm still on the fence about it. So, and I was talking to Craven about this. I feel like 6 is really going to help me decide whether I like this new version or not. And if 6 goes in a weird Last Jedi direction where I'm like, what are they doing? What are these choices? Then I'm done. As far as I know it, as far as I'm concerned, it ends at 4. But I'm 100%. I want this to be good. I want this to be so good, and I want it to redeem 5 even more. So fingers crossed.
Because I think we're at a turning point with the franchise right now. If this is Last Jedi, it's pretty much gonna just leave it dead in the water. But there's that rare little possibility that this is something really special, reinvents the franchise, and we get another movie that's just as good or something. That would be cool. I mean, that's a possibility right now. Hopefully that's the case. I just don't think it would be that difficult to do something that's really fun and just slightly ever so different that doesn't polarize the entire fan base. You know what I mean? Like there's got to be something that they got cooking up that's halfway decent. I hope at least.
I hope so. I mean, they've had enough time to plan it, so I'm hoping, and I hopefully they've retroactively added stuff in 5 that they're not talking about that will pay off in 6. Like they mentioned the mom. They're obviously going to cast the mom. So hopefully we're going to get little nuggets when we go back, because that's the stuff that I like to do. If I were planning a trilogy, I would 100% put stuff in the first one that no one would even really pay attention to until you get to part 7. Like, oh wow, they mentioned
that's
that
a huge
5.
thing now. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So that'd be great.
I love how David Gordon Green kind of did that in like Halloween 2018, moving into Halloween Kills. And to kind of compare this to that, how do you feel about Halloween Kills? I'm curious how you feel about that, because in a lot of ways that's kind of David Gordon Green's, like, that's his movie. You know what I mean? Like Halloween 2018 is kind of him relaunching the franchise. He's got to put some stuff in there, some exposition for the kiddos who have never seen Halloween. You know what I mean? Right. And then going into Halloween Kills, that's much more of like his own thing. Like he was kind of playing around with different things here and there. How do you feel about that movie? I'm just curious.
I've sat with this. Oh, let's read this.
we don't have to. We can wait a second if you want.
Carrie, this is great. Look at that. Carrie,
thank you for the super chat. I very much appreciate it. I know you can't stay. That's okay. Listen. That's okay. Carrie's an amazing mod. She's not a crappy mod whatsoever. Won't be able to stay here during the whole stream. Much love to everyone. Thank you, Carrie. Much love to you. I'm so sorry you have to work on this very special Wednesday night.
Yes, very special. I sat with this, and I honestly think Kills is kind of a pointless movie. It feels very empty. Like it's like I think in one of your recent videos you were talking about it, and you said it's basically just him walking around killing people. And like, yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. It's just like there's no plot. And you were right. Jamie Lee again, sidelined, completely useless. I didn't even need her in the movie. It was a weird choice for a middle portion. You can almost I would assume just watch 2018 and then Halloween Ends and you'd be fine. I don't think you say, oh, where'd the daughter go? Oh, it doesn't matter, but I don't know. It feels very beside the point to me.
I feel like, and I have to see ends first before I really express this opinion, but I feel like there's a lot of things in Halloween Kills that was like there's the payoff of seeing Michael Myers kill a bunch of people. And that's fun. You know, that's always a good time. But I feel like there's a lot of things they're setting up for the next movie. I could be completely wrong. Like it could be nothing, it could mean nothing, but I feel like there's a lot of things, like especially with Frank, the kid, like Hawkins or whatever, Officer Hawkins, his whole thing, like he's the reason we go back to the 70s. We get that new resolution of what happened during the original night in 1978. And we get to learn a little more about his character. I feel like they're building up this really complicated ending for Ends, where it's not just going to be like Laurie Strode killing Michael. It's not just going to be Allison killing him. It's going to be like all these characters coming together, and it's all going to add up to Michael's death, essentially. That's kind of how I feel about it now, but and that'll definitely make me feel a lot better about Kills. But yeah, I mean, that's essentially what it is. It's just kind of it's a candy Halloween film is how I feel about it. It's still fun. I still enjoy it, but I could have used a plot.
Yes, and the Evil Dice Tonight stuff didn't help. That whole side, the whole side plot with the crazy guy jumping out the window. We didn't need that. Come on, I don't know. And this is again going back to Scream 6. If now we're in the middle portion of the radio silence, Lakeshore trilogy, and what are they going to do? Are they going to go Empire Strikes Back? Are they going to go Last Jedi? Or are they going to go Halloween Kills? And I feel it's again, I use the word precarious because I feel they're in a spot where they could either strengthen their position in the franchise and have people say, "Oh, I prefer the radio silence era over the Craven era," which I don't. And hopefully nobody says that, but you never know. You never know.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility.
Or they completely destroy it and there's no part 7. So it's a scary time to be a Scream fan.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. The suspense is killing me.
Yeah.
I'm really rooting for these guys. I mean, I love everything they've made even before this. Like Ready or Not is great. Most people know about that. Southbound is super underrated. I love Devil's Due and their segment in VHS. It's all good stuff. Like their catalog's fantastic. And I'm really rooting for these guys because I love them as filmmakers. And I think what they did with Scream for the most part was really fun. It was a good time. And it can be improved in 6, I think, if they take it the right direction. But yeah. No, it's scary, man. It's one way or the other at this point with how polarized the fan base is. So
it's gonna be like the Halloween franchise. There's like some people are like say, okay, I stop at part 2. That's it for me. Or some people, I love 4 and 5. Actually, I really love 6 too. So I'm a big fan of the Jamie Lloyd movies. 5 obviously has its issues, and so does 6. But there's something about it just hit me at the right time. I'm not a big fan of the return of Laurie Strode. I didn't like H2O. I thought that was pretty slow. Obviously, Resurrection, no one likes.
Yeah,
and then like they said, oh, let's restart it again. I'm not a big fan of the Rob Zombie ones. And I'm hopeful that David Gordon Green's trilogy will, like you said, in retrospect, be really cool. And like, wow, this was actually a really good story, and not just gore porn, which is what you felt like. Just like, all right, yeah, okay.
This next movie is going to be that deciding factor, I think, like 100%. I hope so. I'm rooting for him too, man. I want more good movies. You know what I mean? That's at the end of the day. So,
and what do you think? Do you think we're going to get a trailer for Scream 6 with Halloween Kills or Halloween Ends?
I mean, that's the right time to. Well, not really, because it's coming out in March. Because if it was another January release, I would say definitely for sure. But now with it coming out in late March too, I feel like we don't get a trailer till next year, probably, or maybe late, like Christmas. Like Christmas, we get our first teaser trailer. So that would be my guess as of now. You're the guy in the industry though, so I should be asking you that.
I don't know. I mean, I would put it with Halloween Kills or Ends, whatever the heck it's called. But it really depends on if there's another big kind of horror slasher movie coming out before then. I would at least put a teaser up. Hey guys, part 6 is coming. For those of you who don't watch us on YouTube,
right.
Because I don't know that a lot of people know that it's out yet. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. But they're shooting super fast, which I think I've mentioned to you. The fact that they're shooting it this fast means that they've been ready to go since and the commentary speaks to it. They've been ready to go since they finished the last one.
So, like, I hope that's, like, here's another thing about that, though. I hope that's not because, oh my God, we just made 140 million at the box office. Let's take this puppy home. Let's go again, you know? Like, I hope that's not what happened, because that rarely works out. That rarely pans out to be something amazing. There are rare cases like that, but most times, more than not, that just doesn't often end up with a good product. I hope that they plan this out. I hope that they know where to take the characters of Sam Carpenter and Tara, most importantly, and what to do with the legacy characters instead of just kind of like pushing them off to the side more. Because like I feel, and okay, here's another thing. Sidney may or may not be in this film. Is it a Scream movie without Sidney? Because that's an argument right now. That's a big argument that I just don't know how I feel about it. I'm on the fence. I'm really on the fence about it.
You know, I'll say this. If you've watched the TV shows, you know, I guess the two different iterations, they didn't feel like Scream to me at all. Number one, because, well, obviously they didn't even have Ghostface till whatever the second version of it. So they didn't feel like Scream to me at all. They felt like it felt if anything closer to I Know What You Did Last Summer in terms of a vibe. So without Sidney, there is no Scream. The whole franchise is built around the revenge against Sidney Prescott. You cannot get rid of the main character for that. You know what I mean? So, and I know how the industry works, and the cynical part of me comes out and says, here's what they're doing. They want to keep this cash cow going, so they're going to trick us into wanting to like these new characters so that they can make more movies and make more money. So that when the famous people, you know, Nev and Courtney, whatever, they get too expensive or whatever, and they don't want to do it. Well, we don't need you because we can do this. The problem is the franchise is built so much solely on these characters. I mean, you know, if it had diverted, maybe in part 2, they picked another final girl and Sidney was there helping out or whatever. They could have done that. Or there's a copycat killer and it wasn't Sidney. Then you could have done a Jason thing where it was just Ghostface continues hunting different people. Well, we got 4 movies with the same people. Now you're diverting, and it's so obvious what they're doing. I mean, it's the same thing with Star Wars. You know, the new trilogy was, well, let's get rid of the old people and bring in the new people, but we're going to redo the same thing over again. You know, audiences are getting sick of that, you know, and the originals exist, and they will always be there. So why do we need the new ones? And that the business mentality that Hollywood has really bugs me. So I don't know. I feel, you know, I feel like if the movies can stand on their own, good. But without Sidney, that's bad. I think they're in a. I don't want to say that it's gonna suck, you know, because I don't want to be negative about it before watching it. But it's gonna be really hard for me to like this movie without. I mean, if Gale's in it, I think that would probably pacify me. But without Sidney, man, I don't know. It just won't feel like the right movie.
How do you feel about a Gale-centered movie where it's like she's almost taking the final girl position this time around, and maybe whoever the killers are, their whole vendetta is against her this time around? Because I've talked about a little bit how that could be sort of a compromise between the people who want to just make it its own thing, make it a slasher movie, and then for the people who want to make it all about Sidney again. That's kind of the compromise. How do you feel about meeting in the middle like that? Just making it Gale out front? Because typically in these movies, she's kind of off to the side. Like, she's always looking for who Ghostface is. And it's always fun to watch. But to see her out front being the one looking for Ghostface, could that be interesting? Could that be the new direction we're looking for?
It could be. I mean, you can make an argument that part 3 was that. And she was definitely more the lead of that than Nev was.
Because Sidney doesn't come in like until halfway, right?
I know. Like, yeah. And that's one of the things I don't like about that movie. Is like, where's Sidney? What's happening? So I'd be okay with that. I love Gale, and I'd like her to take an active role. But again, it's really what is the story, and was it worth my time? And are you just tricking us for no reason?
Is it worth telling? Yeah, I agree. If it's just a pointless Gale Weathers focused story, then it's like, well, what did this accomplish? Why are we watching this? What was even the point of this? Jason, thank you so much for the super chat. Wow, that was something right there. Thank you. The only way to have a Scream movie without Sidney is to bring back Stu. All aboard the Stu train. Stu lives. Alligator requel is a must.
Oh, Alligator.
Jason, I'm sorry. I know you want us to talk about Stu, but Alligator is something I've been meaning to talk to you about. I bought the 4K scan after hearing about it, and I've never been so impressed with a B movie that I've never heard of before in my life. It is like to me, it's up there with Jaws. Like it is
Yeah.
up there with Jaws and like Alien for creature features. Wow, blew my mind. Absolute hidden gem.
I love that movie. I saw that when I was a kid, man. I remember that came on TV, and I was like, oh, alligator. And I was a big Jaws fan at the time. So, oh, alligator, what's this? And to this day, every time I'm in a swimming pool, my mind will always remember the alligator in the swimming pool scene. Oh my God. And I've shown it to my son. He's actually watched it twice already. He loves it. But now when we go to the pool, he's always like, he's always going to make sure that there's no alligator in there. Honestly, it's such a fantastically made movie that everybody should watch.
Yes.
I absolutely agree. Right up there with Jaws. It is a fantastic monster movie, great giant monster movie, and yeah, absolute masterpiece. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I'd seen either. I think it was you who tweeted about the 4K. I think that's where I saw it first, and I'm like, interesting. Like, why are they doing a 4K for some weird B movie? You know? And then I saw it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is why they're doing a big 4K release for this. It makes sense.
Yeah.
To harp off of something else Jason just said, though, and this might be something super silly, something you're just like, okay, whatever, Jake. Are you on this metaphysical stew train?
Metaphysical. I love that. You know what, man? I think that's a bridge too far to bring somebody back. I love Craven, but man, I think bringing Stu back would just be too goofy at this point. The fact that, I mean, if they brought him back in 3, you can sort of make the argument, okay, he lived, but no one said, I guess you can kind of make it work. But now we're so deep into it that nobody knew that this was a
like 25 years later.
Right.
Yeah, where has he been? What's up?
I mean, I'm having troubles with the fact that it's going to be 4 years between Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. Like, what's he doing? Did he get a job at Wendy's? Like, what was he up to? So I don't know. No, I don't think they should bring him back. I love him, but I just don't think it would work.
Right. I feel like the only way you can bring him back that's going to be natural this time is, and I'm sorry I keep saying this, but flashbacks. Like, I feel like a flashback with Stu is the only way. And if they do bring him back, dude, you'd have to explain it in a way where he was like in prison the whole time. He was hiding in somebody's house. He's not going to be all, I'll be right back. You know what I mean? He's not going to be Stu Macher. He's going to have to play a more serious, like, I'm going to kill you, Sidney. You know what I mean? It's much more, it's got to be a darker version of the character that I feel like people just wouldn't want to see. I want to see Matthew Lillard just going absolutely banana sandwich on me. That's the only way that I would want him to come back, personally. But I don't know. That's just how I feel about it.
I agree. I mean, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like he won't be the skizu he's out guy. He's not gonna do that stuff. He's gonna be like Ed Gein, dude. He's
right.
Up and scarred up, and so it's and then honestly, the minute you reveal him, he's the killer. So you're not gonna really, if he's in it, he's only gonna be in the last 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
Right.
It wouldn't work.
I don't know. That to me, it's just like, I don't. I want to real quickly, since we're talking about Craven and Night. Craven just hit 4,000 subscribers yesterday, and the Night Watch Zone hit 2K today. I mean, oh my God, we're just milestone after milestone this week. It's been awesome. So. Amazing. Heck yeah. Speaking of which, if you are not subscribed to Master Chaos, I put the link for, I actually, let me double check that. I'm pretty sure I put your link in the description of this video. So if it's there, make sure to subscribe, or just look up Master Chaos TV and subscribe to this guy, because he's awesome. He hosts some awesome live streams. So
thank you. The whole, honestly, I'm bringing Billy back, and now they've dug a hole for them, because now they have to pay that off. He's got to be in part 6 now. You can't get rid of that unless she says goodbye to him and some kind of weird thing, and he vanishes or something.
Avengers Infinity War, just exactly. To dust.
That would be so goofy, but they have to do that, or else they have to keep paying that off.
Right. And to me, that's another thing about Scream, that I feel like it's never been supernatural. And it's as close as you can get to supernatural without it being supernatural, by having Billy be an image in her mind. You know what I mean? I don't love it, but I like at the same time it's hard for me to complain because it's Skeet Ulrich playing this iconic killer again. It's awesome to see him
Right.
back in that role. It's great, but I wish we had more of a point. I wish we had more of a point to actually do that because I feel like you could make Sam his daughter without her seeing premonitions of her dead dad. You know what I mean? I feel like that you would
Yeah.
it's unnecessary. It's not super necessary.
Well, it's a whole thing about also. I mean, if we're gonna get nitpicky, like, why does she see him how she sees him? Like, where's the bullet hole? Why does she see Skeet Ulrich? Why doesn't she see Luke Wilson? You know, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, did she look at autopsy photos? You know, like, how does she have this image in her mind? It's so obvious, like it's for the fans that but it logically doesn't really connect either.
He should have had a bullet hole. That's my big thing about it. If you wanted to take it that route, at least have like. And how cool would it be to every time you cut to him, he has a bullet hole with blood dripping out of and
Yeah.
just like dripping down his face. That would be scarier. Think like American Werewolf in London. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like every time you cut to his buddy, the ghost there, and he's always got that crazy makeup on, but he's
Yep.
acting fine. There's something disturbing about that. Just that he's totally fine, but he's like missing half of his face and all that. It's scary as hell.
And
So
do you think they're gonna pay that off in six? Are we gonna see Richie back? Are we gonna see Dewey?
oh my God. Richie is like with Skeet Ulrich now.
Yeah.
So they're like hanging out in the car while she's driving. No, I really don't know. Like as much, and another thing, I love Jack Quaid. He's amazing. But like
Yeah.
for him to come back as a ghost with a bunch of stab wounds, not enough though. He doesn't have enough stab wounds. No, I kid, of course. But I don't think I'd want to see him back. No, as much as I
Yeah.
loved both the killers in that movie, yeah, no, that would just be silly to me. But okay. One more question. I swear to God, I'm gonna start keeping things flowing. It's 4:20. I had a little fun today. That's all I'm gonna say. How do you feel about? There's this theory online now about 3 killers in a Scream movie. Does that deviate too much for you? Does that deviate too much from the typical formula, or is that like? Could that still work? Is 3 too much? Is 3 not a magic number, like how we were saying earlier?
No, I like that a lot. Actually, I think that's a great idea. You could technically say that there were 3 killers in the first one. You know, with Roman. If he was sort of pulling the strings. Behind the scenes. But I would love that. And let's say we reveal 2 killers, and then the third one gets away at the end, and we see. It would be great if the third killer is revealed, or maybe not revealed, but then that's the cliffhanger ending, and then maybe part 7. Which would be amazing if now we're watching from the killer's perspective, how they plan the kills, how they try to cover their tracks. I would love that in terms of the storytelling. Let's change up the way we see it, because that would be perfect Scream to show us that version of the killer's mentality, the killer's layout. I think I would love to see that. That would make me very happy, but I doubt they will do that.
I too would love to see that because I've always thought about what did Billy and Stu talk about behind the scenes during that original killing? Like, what did that look like? And that's something I'm with Red Right Hand. That's a big focus with our fan film. We really put that was like the big that was the concept basically was what was it like for Billy and Stu from their perspective of kind of the same thing. Jason Dyer, thank you again for the super chat, man. I greatly appreciate it. Just so you know, and I'm gonna say this once. This little banner going at the bottom of the screen. Every dollar you put in, that's one more minute you're gonna keep me talking. Master Chaos, you do not have to stay for that entire thing of me torturing myself essentially. But Jason, thank you so much. We're up to 35 extra minutes, everybody, just so you know. Picture this for Scream 6. Dewey's funeral. Everyone is remembering their moments with Dewey. A Dewey tribute within the movie. As the funeral concludes, Gale gets a call, and it's Ghostface saying he killed Dewey, and it wasn't Amber the entire time. Okay. I'm going to let you go first. I'm like, how do you feel about Jason's theory there with Scream 6 before I go on my rant?
It is a stretch that it was Amber, but I don't know. I honestly feel 5 should have ended with Dewey's funeral. I think it's too late for the funeral at this point. I don't think we'll see that, which is unfortunate. I think if we ever go back to Woodsboro, we should see his grave. Unless he gets cremated like Tatum was. Now we found out what happened to her. I think that would be interesting but I don't know.
You're like,
Yeah. Honestly, it's really it could work. It could work. It just really depends on how they pull it off and if it logically tracks. How do you feel?
It's probably going to be a year later, right? It's probably going to be a year has passed from the events of the last one. I feel like maybe a better way and a more organic way to do a tribute to him would just show Gale Weathers' book about him. Like she said at the end of the movie, like, yeah, I'm going to write a book about Dewey instead, and we're going to let these killers die in anonymity and all that. I think it would be cool. That's the end of Scream 6. We'd see like maybe Gale is trying to write the book throughout the entire movie, and she's just like having writer's block. I mean, that's a little stereotypical, but then to have that at the end of the movie, that's her big release is like, oh, this book about this cop from Woodsboro that I was also like married to at one point or whatever. That could be cool. That could be fun. That would be a fun way to pay tribute to the character, I think, and to possibly even see some flashbacks with him, to have David Arquette come back and do some flashbacks of maybe like him in New York City with Gale. I think that could be something that would be cool, like that you play throughout the entire movie, and maybe it sets up something about who the killers are. Again, I do think something important with this film, and I'm sorry, this is getting long. If this is getting long-winded, Mr. Chaos, then just tell me. But I think something that would be really cool is to have the killer's motive, whatever it is this time around, be something including Gale, be something focused on her. You have that vengeance aspect to Scream yet again, but it's on a different character, another legacy character. It could be all about Gale. It could be all about her like backstory. Maybe she like bit off some heads when she was trying to move up in the news world. I could see that. I could see a character being like, hey, fuck you, Gale. You know, that was supposed to be my morning show, you know, right. and then going and killing her and all that. I think, or trying to at least. I think that could be fun. I think that could be cool.
Again, it really just goes to how it all works out and if it makes sense story wise. But I don't want to go too random. I feel it really works the best when it's connected to the characters in sort of an emotional way. Obviously, we get that with the first 4 movies, that it's obviously all surrounding Sidney's family. If it's just like some pissed off co-anchor going after Gale, that would feel kind of like, I don't know. I don't know that would 100% work. But then there is the rumor that I don't know if it was mentioned in some kind of press release that it was about a survivor from a past movie getting killed. So I don't know what that means exactly. Does that mean Chad, or does that mean Martha? Is Martha going to get killed now? You know,
that could be the case. I mean, that's technically, yes, that is the survivor of the past killings. I do feel like to keep it in the same, like, because we're continuing the story of 5, not really the stories of some of the past movies, you'd probably have to kill somebody who survived the last movie, right? Like that makes sense to me, I think. You're right, like that is not really confirmed at this time, like of who that could be. Is it someone from the last movie? Could it be something like Kirby Reed? Could it be one of the sorority sisters or something from the second movie? Something along those lines. Sure. It could be that. But I also think to make the mystery work, like let's say, yes, they're bringing back, let's say in this universe, they're bringing back Sidney, they're bringing back Gale, and all 4 of the other characters that survived the last film. That's 6 characters that are probably cleared to not be Ghostface, unless they do the 3 killers thing where it was like, oh yeah, someone was actually working with the Ghostface killers from the last movie. Unless they go that route, that's totally different. But if they don't, that's 6 people who aren't Ghostface, and then if you only introduce 6 more characters, it's gonna be pretty easy to figure out who it is, I think, at that point, unless you really put an emphasis on writing that a certain way. To me, it's like, that's gonna be way too obvious. You gotta kill one of these people in the opening scene, probably. That's the only way to make the mystery work to me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think like we talked about sort of Sam being the wild card. If they were to pull like, oh, she was maybe she's not with the ghost faces of 6, but she's also been Ghostface killing on the side. That could be an interesting way to take it too, in terms of what happens to her. But I think there's so many people, some new fans that came to the franchise because of 5. I think some of those people like 5 the best of all the movies, and that's fine. But if any of those survivors are killed in 6, there's going to be a lot of unhappy people. I mean, it's like the same thing with Randy. You know, they took out Randy in 2, and oh man, it still stings. You know. Right,
and that kill in a way too feels so like unearned. To me, like it's like he's this guy that knows horror movies in and out, and he gets killed like in broad daylight. Yeah. What? Like, to me, I feel like you could have killed Randy in a better way. Personally, that's just how I feel about it. I love him. I also love the character too, so I'm super biased.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So Okay, so here's something from Chris to confirm. They do not have, this is not confirmed if the trilogy is planned, but all of us are speculating it at this
Yeah,
point. I mean, you were even saying earlier, like, yeah, they're probably going to do a trilogy. That's just how
yeah.
Hollywood works, right?
I would say 100%. I think obviously with the first one they didn't, Kevin just wrote it like he wrote a spec script and that's all what happened. But with this one, Paramount wants to make a franchise, so they certainly, if anything, had outlines planned. And I suspect they signed Nev and Courtney for 2 movies, maybe even all 3. I don't know. But in this whole kind of coyness about, oh, I might come back, I might not come back, is just kind of like PR stuff to keep people intrigued. But but then they recently said, somebody from Radio Silence said that even if they're not in the movies, they're in the movies. That's worrisome.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. I really don't, because I think the biggest proof of why that wouldn't work is the TV show, like we were saying earlier. Like, the characters are okay, they're not bad, but Scream movie characters, they just pale in comparison. Not just the legacy characters, like even the side characters. I just feel like they're not as good. They're TV show characters versus movie characters, and it's just not as good, I don't think.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest complaint I could probably, launch against 5, is that to a degree it almost felt like a season of the TV show, because and even though it has obviously connections to the real franchise, parts of it felt like, well, who are these guys? What are they doing in my Scream film? Get out of here, And that's coming from, like, again, I was there opening night for part 1, so I'm old school. Like, I grew up with these guys. So it probably wouldn't make a dent on somebody else watching it. But if they earn their place in 6, then I think I'll be more than happy to embrace 5 even more.
Yeah.
But if they completely botch 6, then we's in trouble, pal.
Yeah. I like, to me, if 6 is just isn't great, I don't know if they might make another one, but I don't know if I would still be excited for it, depending on what they do with it. Of course, it all depends on executions. Cody, what is going on, man? What is up? What is up? Master Chaos, what do you think if they made Sidney the killer? Isn't that's just a betrayal in my mind, I think. But
there would be no point. Yeah, that would not be good. Somebody was even, I think, I don't remember where I read this on Twitter, or somebody said they should make Mark Kincaid the killer, and they're married now, and could he have been the third killer, or I guess the second killer in the third movie? Possibly. And what a crazy long game to play, to marry her, have kids with her. You go, oh, surprise, I'm Ghostface. I don't know that I would buy it, but I think if they might be able to pull it off. But Sidney, no. Sidney has to 100% be the pure heroine. And something I think they baked in for future franchises that I'm not sure if anyone's really picked up on. She's got 2 daughters.
Yep.
They're going to grow up. They're going to be teenagers. Ghostface is coming after them.
Of course. In like 2030, 2040, we're going to get new Scream movies all about those characters.
Yeah.
Of course we are. Come on. Yeah. Especially if let's say they do a trilogy and it's successful. Yeah, we're going to get more Scream movies moving past that. Of course.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with you can't kill Halloween. You're not going to kill Scream. They're the two of the biggest slasher franchises ever. There's no way there's no way, even if 6 and 7 are total garbage. Let's say they suck. There's no way you're going to, that's not the last nail in the coffin for the biggest slasher franchise, essentially.
Yeah.
So I don't think that would be the case. Chris says, kill Gale or Sidney and I'm out. I pretty much agree, man. I think that if you kill those characters, it would suck. I like the idea of teasing that death is fun, but actually going through with it, that's where I draw the line. That's where I'd be like, nope, don't do that.
Yeah, it's tough, but I think what makes them so cool is that they're resilient and they've stood the test of time against all these enemies. So Dewey going out is he was always kind of like the pincushion. He always sort of survived all this crazy crap. So like
thumbs up.
Him literally not surviving really, to me, broke and we've talked about this, broke the cardinal sin of the movies. After he died, it wasn't fun anymore. It all of a sudden felt like, this is a very different tone. And there's some great scenes in the finale that I really love. I love when Mindy's watching, Stab and the recreating it. I love that. That was very clever. I love everything with Liv. I wish she was in the movie longer.
Yeah. Okay. I see. I don't hear that too much. I don't hear too much praise for that character. So that's interesting. Okay.
Maybe, maybe because I got a little crush on her. Maybe that's it.
Well, okay. See, I understand that.
But no, I thought she was good. And I thought she was a very interesting kind of red herring because she could have easily been crazy, and maybe she was playing it so hard,
And they set that up. Yeah, they set that up throughout the whole movie. That Mindy was kind of suspecting her, and then she kind of starts getting crazier as the movie goes on, and then you know what happens? She gets shot in the face. It's crazy. It's like, oh my god, that was my favorite part of the entire movie, the Amber reveal, I think. But Jason again with the super chat. Holy crap, man, we're up to an extra 45 minutes. Let's go. Crazy stuff here. We need to have a new beginning to Scream. Big party with everyone dressing like Ghostface. Several Ghostface killers just start going to town. No one knows who is who. What would you like to see in something like that? Because listen, Master Chaos, I'll tell you what, man. One of my favorite scenes, just in any horror movie, and this is just a general thing I like to see, is when you have a slasher villain like this going up against like a group of people, and it's just murder after murder. It's just like a big, like Hellraiser 3 in the nightclub.
Yeah.
Like that's a good example. Or Piranha 3D with all the fish eating all the teenagers. Like I love that. I can't get enough of scenes like that personally.
Yeah.
So if they did that with Ghostface, once again, it would be super dark, but I wouldn't be against it.
I actually think that's kind of an interesting idea. I would love for the movies to get a little gorier. I would love for him to maybe switch, not all the time, but maybe switch up his weapon. Maybe get a machete, a chainsaw, just for one kill. Just like, and then again, the killer's a movie fan, right? So what if he's like in a garage and he's got his little knife and the person's screaming on the floor, and then he looks over and there's a chainsaw, and he puts the knife down and grabs the chainsaw because that would be a cooler weapon as a horror movie fan. That's what a murderer would do. Oh shit, I'll do the chainsaw. Something I would love to see Ghostface sort of play with the environment a little more. And they did that in part 5 in the beginning where he was talking to Tara and they kind of played with him playing different characters or whatever. So I love that. I'd love to see that, but I'd love to see him play more with the weapons. A big massacre scene would be fantastic. And I like the idea of like a party. And I don't know if I'd love it for the whole movie, but maybe it's a Knives Out situation where the people are stuck in a house and they're dropping off one by one, and it's sort of like, let's lock ourselves in. One of us is the killer, and the whole movie's kind of a cat and mouse trying to figure out who the killer is before. I don't know. I think that's kind of an interesting idea. I mean, that's kind of what happens with the finales anyway, the third acts, but expanded into a whole movie, that would be kind of interesting with a lot of gore. I like that.
Imagine they're like trapped in a winter cabin or something. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, one of us is Ghostface. Like, I think that could be, you could play that in an original and inventive way, I think, and be commenting on that style of murder mystery. Sorry about that. But yeah. It just happens, man. I think you could, like, changing up the murder mystery is something I wouldn't be against personally. To kind of go, and then to kind of go off of something that Jason just said, like to have, these movies typically end with a party scene. To have Ghostface just come in and not reveal himself at first, with like maybe the second one, maybe the third one as well, coming in and just start murdering everybody at a party would be insane. I mean, that would be such a shock to people who go to these movies and don't expect things that are that graphic on screen. Right. I think it could be fun. It could be played for like dark humor in a way. Yeah.
Something I'd also love to see, because it didn't go far, but I pitched on this years and years ago when there was the idea of doing a 5. Something I'd love to see is there's 2 separate Ghostfaces killing people off, and they meet at the end. They're like, "Wait, who the fuck are you?" And then cut the credits. What? There's 2 Ghostfaces and they're not working together? That would be such a cliffhanger. So like if they go in directions like that where they keep us guessing and it's a rewarding experience, then go hog wild. But I think keeping the core characters intact is important, and I think that's how you keep your franchise alive. That's how you keep people coming back.
Yeah,
you kill Sidney, you kill Gale. Over. Sorry, no one's coming back for that. Maybe we'll check it out of curiosity, but I'm not watching it 10 times.
It just might not be as good because that's a thing we've learned about the past 5 films is that these characters are so important. I agree. I think maybe if you would have asked me this question like 6 months ago, I would have been like, you know what, screw it. Why not? But the more I watch these movies, I realize the why I come back to them and I don't go back to movies as much like I Know What You Did Last Summer or like Final Destination is the characters. Like those movies are good, those movies are fun and kind of in the same vein as the Scream films, but the characters just aren't as strong as Sidney Prescott, Gale Weathers, Dewey Riley, Randy Meeks. I mean, like I love those characters, and I can put that movie on at any point and enjoy every single character in the majority of these movies. I can't say that about every other '90s slasher franchise. That's a big thing for me. That's a really big thing.
Absolutely. Again, it's really all about the actors and the lines they're given, and that's the one thing I stress. On my sets is I'm usually the writer on my stuff, and if it's not working, we'll change it, so that the actor feels comfortable with it, so that it sounds good. Because what's on that little frame that you see, the little viewfinder, that is the movie. So whatever's in there has to be magic, and if it's not magic, then something's missing, and you have to try to get that right. And Scream was absolute magic, and they've been trying to recapture it since, and it's hard. And not even Wes Craven could do it, So it's tricky. So and now this one has so much on its shoulders because not only is it part 6, but it's technically part 2. So right. It's almost never been done before. It's definitely new ground.
It's really hard to make the 6th entry in a slasher franchise and make it good. Like that's just for any series in general, I would say. So it's going to be really tough to make this one something new and original and bring people back on board for sure. It's going to be tough, but I think it can be done. Listen, if Jason Lives could do it all the way back in the mid 80s, we can do it. We can do it again today is what I say. Master Chaos, I gotta ask you something. I'm not keeping you too late, am I?
No,
I know we've been going for an hour.
Like another 30 minutes or so.
I got you. Hell yeah, man. I know you're a busy guy. You're making movies left and right. It's crazy. It's good stuff, man. For all the new people in the chat, do you want to go over your movie one more time, or we don't have to? I don't give a shit.
The movie's called The Headless Horseman. We're going into production May 16th. We're shooting an entire feature film in 6 days.
6 days.
Frightening to even think about, but I've got a hell of a team behind me, people who just love making movies. And so I'm going to be chronicling the whole thing over on my channel, exclusive behind the scenes stuff that you're not going to see anywhere. And this is, I'm no holds barred. I will reveal warts and all of production. So I'll be showcasing all of that over on my channel. And I got a new movie out. You can find it at Walmart. It's called The Legend of La Llorona. And
nice.
I wrote it 4 years ago, and it's finally come out. And I had nothing to do with the production beyond writing it, and I'm happy with the way it came out. You never know what's going to happen at the end of the day when they take your script and people go off and make their own thing, and fingers crossed. But I have to say I'm pretty impressed with the low budget we had and the time that we had, that they were able to they were get a pretty decent Llorona movie out there. So I'm happy with that one. That's in Walmart right now.
Heck yeah. You got me an early screener of that. I greatly appreciate it. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a good time. Man. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. I recommend it.
I wish we could have worked a little bit on the ghost effects, but again, I had no hand on that. It is what it is when you're dealing with no. Well, we're not no budget, but we were definitely under 500,000. So it's you do what you got to do, and it's the reality of the movie business. We're not all Scream 5s.
Right. We don't all get $20 million budgets, right?
Exactly.
It's unfortunate. Tayson says, "Oh, and yes, check that out. Go to your local Walmarts and buy The Curse of La Llorona. Go Please. Do it."
The legend of La Llorona.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was Curse.
Yeah,
my
Curse
bad.
is the other one. We don't talk about that one.
Okay, yeah, screw that one. Never mind. Right. There's so many La Llorona movies. I'm like, they blend together. I have a way that Dewey can return in 6 by Gale having a dream about him and her outside on their porch watching their kids, and she wakes up bawling out her eyes. Do they have any kids? Hold on. What? Holy crap. Yeah, if Gale Weathers has some kids, that's something I would have liked to know about in Scream 5. But yeah, I could see that happening though. Like maybe dream sequence, flashback, Dewey in New York City, we learn a little more about their relationship. I'm okay with that. Are you open to Dewey coming back for Scream 6 in some capacity. Once again, I don't think they're going to bring him back like he's alive, but could you see that happening? Are you okay with that? Or is that just like, okay, that's the Billy Loomis thing all over again?
No, I love Dewey. So if they pull a Scream 3, with Dewey left a videotape. Hey guys, in case they get stabbed in the hospital, here's what you should know. I don't know. I would like to see him back, and I think he sort of hinted. I think recently he said that they asked him if he's coming in part 6. He said you never know. So I don't know if he shows up. I honestly will welcome him back, and I'll accept it just because I want him in the movie. But I don't think they have kids. You're right. We should have seen that at least in part 4. That we should have seen kids. Right.
We should have learned about that all the way back then, and no, nothing. So, and I don't think Gale Weathers would to me. I don't think she's the character to do that. But maybe I don't know. Maybe that's just that's not. She's more focused on her career, is how I see her as a character. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she does get kind of want to settle down and do that. But I don't think that happens now. Do we see Gale Weathers hook up with somebody else in this, or is that sacrilege? Is that blasphemy, or no? Do we not do a love interest character for Gale?
No, I feel like that would be in bad taste. I feel like that would be. I think people would really start looking down on Gale if she's. I mean, even if it's a year later, and obviously she could, obviously date, but I feel like that wound is still fresh for us, and that's who I care about. I care about us, man, and. I mean, obviously, in real life, Gale wouldn't be celibate forever or whatever. But I don't know. Her dating would be kind of a weird subplot.
What? Yeah. Why would we need to see that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to focus on kills, gruesome killer. Let's get some more. Let's get some more Ghostface kills in this one. What we only had 5 or 6 in the last movie. Let's up that body count a little bit, is what I say.
Absolutely.
So that's another big thing I want to focus on. This is something. Okay, so this is something I've seen talked about a little bit. About how Billy's dad might come back and try to avenge the wife who died in Scream 2. But to me, that just sounds way too close to Scream 2 again. And I don't I want to avoid that. And I know we're kind of harping on things we already talked about, but if you do that same twist where it's just it's a parent of the person from before, or if Richie's mother is the killer in Scream 6, that's just Scream 2 over again. I don't want to see, I want to see a new motive. I want to see new characters come into play here.
Yeah, I think no, yeah, don't do that. Don't bring them in.
And I'm worried about that, right? That's something to be worried about. I think honestly,
it is. It absolutely is. And I mean, if we talk about the motives of Part 5, they pretty much ripped off Part 4. The whole, the fans recreating their perfect version of the movie or whatever. And then they mentioned the whole thing about the message boards. Is that going to play a big part? Are we going to have message board killers for this trilogy? So the Amber and Richie failed. Okay, Team B, you're up. Is it are there other people waiting in line with knives? Okay, are we next? Okay, no, you're Team C, and then that happens. You guys will be in Part 8. So I don't know. Not the dad. I think that would be too close. I agree.
Could you see a subreddit plot thing happening though, where it's like Reddit killers, they know about Richie and Amber dying maybe, and they want to come after all the survivors of the last movie? There's a part of me where I'm like, if you could execute that correctly, but if you just rehash the motive from the last movie, which is like you said, essentially rehashing the motive from 4, is that way too stale at that point? You got to give me something else on top of it. I feel like.
I think so. They should do that. If they repeat it, that's too much. I don't know.
I feel that. I can sympathize with that as much as I did kind of like the motive and what am I trying to say? The commentary on toxic fandom in the last movie. I thought that was cool. But yeah, I will agree there is parts of it where I'm like, okay, that monologue is way too close to what Jill was saying in Part 4. But Jason, once again, just you're single-handedly paying my bills here pretty much, Jason. Thank you. Let's go. Much love and respect for you, movies Master Chaos. Question: would you put the awesome Nicolas Cage in your movies? If you had the option to do that, would you put Nick Cage in a role?
Well, I don't know if I can't officially say this, but I will mention that there has been a discussion of me and Mr. Cage making a film. I don't know when, but that is a thing that may potentially happen next year. I don't know. He's very busy, but that is a possibility. Yes.
Oh, okay. Holy crap. that's awesome. I thought that was just going to be a silly question, but wow, that went somewhere. Yeah. That's exciting.
And holy crap. Literally within the last few months, that sort of became a possibility. So 2 months ago I said, nah, probably not. But you never know.
But now it's like, okay, something could be happening. Well,
Yeah.
listen, I'm insane about Nick Cage. I love the man, and I'm going to see the new movie with him and like Pedro Pascal or whatever on Sunday. I'm so pumped for that. Oh my god, like, oh yeah, it looks hilarious. I don't even know if it's gonna be like a good movie. It might be like a so bad it's good kind of film, but I don't even care. I think I'm just gonna love it no matter what it is. But I'm pumped for it. I love the man. You got to keep me updated if you do get to work with him. That's insane. I remember you told me that you were one of the ghosts in Insidious, and that's like one of my favorite horror movies. That blew my mind when you told me that. That's crazy.
I didn't make it into the movie. As far as I know, I keep looking for myself, but I was definitely one of the further ghosts, like the crowd ghosts. That was a lot of fun. I was on there for 2 days. It was a great time. James is a friend, and that was like the first Blumhouse movie, so it was fairly low budget. I mean, that was under $1 million, believe it or not. And yeah, fantastic fun. And I'm glad that franchise has gone on to huge things, and now potentially a new one. So we'll see.
Yeah. Patrick Wilson might direct the next one and be in it, which is crazy. Which is like, holy crap! I can't wait to see that. If that's like his directorial debut, that would be sick. I'd be so down for that. So have you seen the sequel? I know we're kind of, I don't even care we're getting off topic. I just like talking about horror movies on this page. Yeah. Have you seen the Insidious sequels? Like, how do you kind of feel about those?
Yeah, I like the second one. It took me a while to get into because I was like, wow, this is a very interesting direction. But I ended up being okay with it. The other ones, they get kind of complicated timeline-wise. It becomes like the Saw movies for me. Where I'm like, hey, what's happening now? So I would say the first two are really good, and the other ones are fine.
Because once again, it's going to get complicated apparently with Insidious 5. So technically, if you were to watch these movies in chronological order, from what I know about Insidious 5, you'd have to watch them 3, 4, 1, 2, 5. So 5 is going to be like the real Insidious 3 continuing off of 2. So it's all kinds of fucked up at this point, but I'm still excited for it. I think it's fun. There's a lot of rumors right now as well that they're going to go back to the original demon from the first movie, which is something I have a problem with in the sequels. I think like all the monsters are good, but they just don't compare to Joseph Bishara as the lipstick demon. I mean, he's fucking amazing in that first movie. So for him to go back to that.
Joe's the funniest guy because he's like such a little dude. Like I'm short. I'm like 5'7", but he's shorter than me, and he's just like he kind of looks like Moby. I don't know if you know he was the composer too, so he writes all the music for him. So he's just hanging around on set, and he's like, "Oh, I'm the composer." I'm like, "Cool." Oh, and I'm also the demon. I'm like, "Oh, there's a demon." I didn't see him in the makeup. I saw the footage afterwards, but it's so weird. Like the nicest guy, just like very, very, soft spoken, and then plays one of the most terrifying things ever.
Yeah, I like he's literally living my dream life. Like that's my goal in life is to play monsters in horror movies, and like he's doing it. It's awesome. I love him. I even I'm so obsessed with the guy. I even went back and looked at like some of his he was in like some like prog metal band or something like all the way back in the 80s, and I went and listened to that, and it's like, oh my god, this is good music. He knows what he's doing when it comes to creatures and metal music or just scores for movies. We got Zoe in the chat. What's going on, Zoe?
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up? We also have Podcast Now. What's going on, Podcast?
Hey.
What's up? What's up,
dude?
Haven't seen you in the streams almost ever, so thank you. Congrats on
together soon.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by. Almost to 10K. Thank you. We're probably gonna hit that next month at some point, and I just greatly appreciate everyone who is subscribed. So make sure to hit that subscribe button if you have not. It would mean a lot to me. I would stop crying late at night if that were the case. So that would be that would be a good time.
He sends me pictures of himself crying. It's kind of like, stop sending me these, dude.
Are you sure? Like it's fun. It's fun.
It makes me happy to watch you cry. So yeah, please keep sending them.
You told me that. That's why I've been sending them to you.
I have a whole wall of your crying face.
You have like a shrine somewhere, just an entire wall of Jake crying every day. Yeah. This was April 1st. He cried. Oh my god. So
a little obsessed with it, yeah.
Right. Nissan R34 says, how about in Scream 7, Ghostface starts killing people who now live in Casey's house, Sid's house, Woodsboro, or Okay, that's a whole bunch of words. New principal and at Stu's house with a Stu and Sam reveal. So essentially, what you want is to have another film in Woodsboro with Stu and Sam being the duo killer together. Yeah, this harks back to what we were saying about Stu. I think
Yeah,
I just don't know if it would make sense. I don't know if people would actually like that.
I think it sounds good. I think people were like, "Oh man, I'd love to see Stu back," but I think in reality, it would. I think it would just be disappointing. I think most people, like with, I mean, when Part 5 came out, everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's the best sequel ever! Oh my god, I love it!" And like literally like a month later, people were like, "Eh," So it happens. So I think having Stu back it's too good to be good. It sounds too good to be true. Whatever, you know the phrase.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just don't think it would work. I honestly love the Woodsboro setting, and that's the one thing the reason I love 4 is my favorite sequel is because it goes back to Woodsboro and it captures, at least attempts to capture the feel of the first one. The small town and the kind of Mayberry turned on its head. I love that. So I wouldn't mind if they stayed in Woodsboro, but I just wish they hadn't killed Judy. I feel like that was a bad.
Ooh, okay.
That was kind of a waste. I feel like she would have been again another character who would have just kept coming back, and would not have been expensive or picky,
And they set up a lot of things with her and Sam that once again didn't go anywhere. There was a lot of things that they set up a lot at the very beginning of Scream 5 between the characters that really never went anywhere. That's honestly my biggest thing about the movie, that I'm just like, why did they even throw that in there? There's the line about like Wes hitting on Tara. We really never see them talk to each other, and then Wes is just dead halfway through the movie. Why was that in there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's that. There's the whole thing about like why was Liv staying behind, and why did Chad have those bruises on his arms? There's a bunch of things that I just feel like didn't come back to mean anything. Now, this is much more of a question for you, Mr. Chaos, but what's a horror film that came out this year that inspired your craft other than Scream and Halloween? So something from this year, we can say 2021 too, since that's a little more fresh in our brains as well.
Well, I saw 2 movies recently that blew me away, and 100% I'm going to recommend these movies to everyone. One is Everything Everywhere All at Once. Fantastic, beautiful movie.
Everyone has been telling me about that film, and and I'll be honest with you. Listen, I haven't seen it. I know nothing about it. I honestly haven't even read anything. It looks overcomplicated to me, and I'm sure everyone else has been like, you are dead wrong. It's perfect. So I'm seeing it this weekend.
Okay.
I'm excited.
It's it is a lot, but and about halfway through it may lose you. And again, I'm gonna lean on my screenwriting, my the stuff I do for a living. In the end, I'm not gonna give anything away, but in the end, the movie does a little thing with one of the characters, and everything clicks, and then you get this warm feeling. You get tingles and chills. And you're like, this is what movies are supposed to feel like. This is what characters are supposed to be like. No movie's really touched me that way in a long time. So I think it's a very important movie. And even if you walk away not loving it 100%, I think the message of the movie is important enough that I think you'll appreciate that. So 100%, that's a movie that inspires me and shows me that movies are still alive and well. And in terms of horror, oh my God, it's not available yet. I saw it at a film festival, an online film festival, I think last year or something. But it's coming out. There's a German Blu-ray, but there's a U.S. Blu-ray coming out, I think, in May or sometime in the summer. The Sadness.
Oh, dude, yes. I'm so excited to see that. It's coming to Shudder in May, dude.
Yes.
I'm counting the days down.
Oh, my God. Believe the hype on this one. This one is insane. It's so well made. Like their budget for blood must have been like the budget they spent on Titanic. I mean, it is
oh man, okay.
It's what we were talking about, like just gory massacre. There's a scene in a subway train that is legendary.
Okay, okay. Oh, dude, like, and I saw your tweet about it earlier where you were saying like, this might take my top spot opposed to Train to Busan, and like, I'm
Yeah,
right there with you, man. Train to Busan's like,
I love it.
if I had two favorite horror movies, or two favorite zombie movies, that's
Yeah.
definitely one of them. I've been looking forward to The Sadness for a while though, and I remember seeing the trailer and being like, this could be
Oh,
something special, man. And I'm glad to hear that. I'm like I said, counting down the days until it's on Shudder. I'm watching it the day it's there, the day
you will
to
love
the
it.
day.
I will say Busan wins only because it's got, I think, a better story overall, and it's got that heart.
Right,
It's
right.
the first horror movie that made me cry. You know, and
Yeah.
for a horror movie to make you cry, you're like, I'm crying, but this is so beautiful and so great. The Sadness didn't make me cry, but I was cringing the whole time. I'm like, this is insane. How did they pull this off? This is literally what you would imagine a perfect violent zombie movie to be.
Oh.
It's The Sadness. I can't imagine anybody being disappointed with that one.
That's the one thing that consistently scares me. And Carter, we're gonna get to your super chat. Thank you so much, Carter. We're gonna get to that in just a second. But man, that's the one subgenre that just almost always scares me. Even with a half decent movie, zombies are just terrifying to me. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see one that's very well done and super super scary, super gory. And man, that subway scene you're talking about, just that
Ugh.
that gets me real excited. Tell you what, that makes my pants tight. I'm excited to talk Shark Night on stream soon. Can't wait to get more involved in the horror space. You have made me get off my yes without the Y.
A Shark
Thank you,
Night
Carter.
I actually just saw that recently. My son loves shark movies. That's actually a pretty fun little movie. I mean, it's not great, but it's fun.
Oh, I totally agree. Like, it's one that I keep watching. I don't know why, because it's not great, but there's something about it that I'm like, this is oddly something special. And yeah, me and Carter are going to talk about that on his page eventually. Thank you for the super chat again, man. Yeah, we are up to 70 extra minutes, by the way. So we're going to go past an hour 30 to, at least I am. Like I said, Master Chaos, don't feel.
I can hang out a little longer. Usually, if my son, gets bored of just drawing pictures, he'll text me, "Hey, when are you done?" And then I'll. But I'm good to go for a little bit longer. Yeah. What's the longest? Yeah. What's the longest you've been on?
Actually, last week I did a 3.5 hour stream because the super chats just kept coming in. So I was like, okay, like let's just keep it rolling, I guess. Yeah. I have a lot of energy these days, and so I'm just like, fuck it, why not? But
the longest I've gone is 12 hours.
Oh my god, what did you do? Did you
Speaking of Scream, it's still on my channel. It's I read all 4 scripts.
Oh man.
That was a lot of fun, but that was in the early days when I was trying to do stunts, to help the channel grow, and 12 hours is a lot. It's exhausting.
Oh yeah, you'd have to get a tube to pee. Like,
well,
what did you
take breaks?
Okay. Yeah.
I think I was like I showed trailers or something when I went to pee, but yeah.
There you go. That's where I'm at kind of mentally. I'm like, I'm going to do some crazy stunts on live streams. I'm going to have like just a bunch of food just ready to go when I need it, and like just tape a tube to that part and just kind of let it go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? I mean, hey, you got to do what you got to do, man. The grind is real.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. It's that's what Mr. Beast did. He's got videos where he like counts to 1 million. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude! His streams where he's reading the entire dictionary or whatever. He's crazy. It's awesome. Dedication.
It paid off for him, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he's almost at like 100 million, man. It's crazy, dude.
It's nuts, dude.
I'm seeing some love for Joseph Bashara in the chat, which once again, everything that man does is amazing. So it's awesome. Do you want to plug anything else, Master Chaos? While we're here, while we have this soapbox to preach on, is there anything else you want to just kind of like pitch out into the world?
Well, there is something I can kind of soft announce. I had to push it obviously because my movie comes first. I was going to do it this month, but I was waiting on some celebrity casting. But I'm gonna be doing a live script reading of the original Scream. It's most likely gonna be in June now, because of my movie and everything. So it's gonna be in June. Live script reading for charity, so people can donate to Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. And I can announce, I'm pretty sure I can announce it because she's pretty much said she's in. Darcy, the male girl, is going to be playing Sidney.
No way.
Yep.
Oh, sick. Oh my God, dude.
Yep. So she'll be reading the part of Sidney, and Jake, I would still love for you to be Billy if you're in.
Yeah. Yeah, man, dude. Oh my God. Listen, you hit me up about that like what, a month ago or whatever. And I'm just like, oh yeah, that's sweet. But I didn't realize, oh my God. I'm acting next to celebrities here. This is gonna be crazy. Oh man, yeah, I will 100% be there. That's awesome, dude.
Hopefully we can schedule to get it all together. And I've got a couple other people I can't really say because I need to get 100% confirmed, but I'm talking to somebody right now to play Casey, who would be really fucking amazing. So we'll see. I'll tell you off air, but
gotcha.
Yeah, but definitely she'll be Darcy, or some people know her as Diana Prince. She will be our Sidney, and I'm very very stoked for that,
dude.
Because
God,
she's a big Scream fan. I think she said that's her favorite horror movie of all time. So
nice. Okay, awesome, man. Oh my God. Wow. Like my mind. I feel like my head's gonna explode on stream right now. This is insane. That's wow. I thought it was gonna be like some YouTubers. We're all just gonna have a good time, but it's like, oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, initially it was just gonna be all of us, but I'm like, let's see if we can jazz it up a little bit.
Yeah, man. Holy shit! Well, make sure to check out that stream in June if you're watching this. Oh my God, that's gonna be
now, so you don't miss it.
There you go. Subscribe to Master Chaos if you have not already. Like I said, the link is questionably in the description below. If I remembered to do that, hopefully. So yeah. So we have some more talking about. That's once again. That's just so exciting. I'm very excited to see who's playing Casey too. So, that horror nerd says my favorite zombie is Dead Set by the creator of Black Mirror. Have you seen Dead Set?
I have. It's good. It's a TV show if I remember correctly, or a miniseries. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I think Busan has tops it, but Dead Set's pretty good. It's definitely worth a watch.
Okay, is that the one where it's like a game show or whatever, and the zombies break in from the outside and they or whatever? Is that kind of the?
So. I believe okay. There's another one that has a similar title. Maybe I'm thinking of a Korean show because there's a Korean show that's similar to it.
All of Us Are Dead, maybe on like Netflix.
I watch so much shit, man, that I'm on Letterboxd only because I need to keep track of the stuff that I watch because I forget, and so I was like, oh, I did see that. But I remember the name Dead Set and I remember liking it, so I'm gonna go with it's good.
Yeah, it's probably. I kind of remember something like that. That was good.
Yeah.
For me, dude, the holy grail of zombie movies is Zombie from 1979 from Lucio Fulci. Listen, fast zombies are great. They're terrifying. Like 28 Days Later, Train to Busan. It's awesome. I think Train to Busan is probably the best of fast zombies. But slow zombies, man, that to me that just scares me a little more for whatever reason. There's something scarier about like the zombies lurking in the dark, ready to jump out at you. And man, I just feel like that movie with the tropical setting, the juxtaposition of having this like gorgeous resort like looking area or whatever with zombies walking around eating people. It's just, I can't get enough of it. I love that film so much. It's my favorite zombie movie.
Dude, you're like a brother from another mother because that movie freaks the hell out of me, man. That absolutely the thing with like the eye.
The eye, man. Oh God.
Yeah, I love a good mangled, eaten out. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? Eaten up zombie.
Okay, there we go. Eaten up. Yeah, there.
Although those there are movies that happens in. But
yeah.
Maybe for a late night stream we can talk about those. But yeah, that movie is phenomenal, and I think every horror fan owes it to themselves to watch Lucio Fulci movies in general. One I would recommend is The Beyond. Have you seen The Beyond?
Yes. I really like The Beyond too.
So good.
Oh yeah. I love all of his movies, but Zombie's the one that I feel like is like, okay, that's like a 10 out of 10 for me. The Beyond's, it's pretty good. That's the one where the girl's throwing up like all her guts in that one scene, right? Or no, am I thinking of a different movie?
That's Gates of Hell.
Oh, Gates of Hell. Okay, I've seen that one. I don't know if I've seen Beyond then. The Beyond.
Beyond is the one about the there's a house in New Orleans, but it's like a gateway to hell, and then all these zombies come out. It's there's a
and they're in the basement.
Dog. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wait, I've seen that. Yeah. Okay, I've seen that one too. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that one was good. I think I almost liked the See, I can't remember titles. I also watch a bunch of shit, Master
Yeah.
Chaos. I don't fucking know what I can't even remember what's what. But yeah, I think I like the other one a little better, but that one's good. That one's badass. I do like that one
I
as
just
well.
think and it's for me it's the opposite. Gates of Hell doesn't really work for me. I haven't seen it in a while, but there's something about the Beyond. There's just the whole the music and the story and
The music's fantastic.
you know,
I remember the
man.
music being really good. Yes.
Oh, yeah, I love Italian horror, and I sort of have a weird love-hate relationship because there's some stuff that's really great, and there's some stuff that's just really awful, and it's hard to find. You have to weed through that stuff because there's so much of it, and to find the stuff that's the real hidden gems, you have to eat a lot of crap.
Yeah, I no, I totally feel that. How do you feel about Dario Argento though? Speaking of like old school Italian horror,
Argento, I think, is somebody. When I was starting out and I was a young filmmaker and I was learning all these things, I love his use of color. I hate his storytelling. I think I think his plotting is awful. He doesn't always write his own movies, but he's got two really solid movies. I think Deep Red and Tenebre are the best. In my opinion, I think Tenebre is a fantastic, probably his best. Giallo, Giallo is how you pronounce it. And the other ones, I could take or leave. I mean, sometimes I'm in the mood for them, sometimes I'm not. But I think he's an acquired taste. But definitely his newer stuff is just complete hot trash.
Yeah, I hate to agree, but like, cause he's kind of considered like one of the greats, and yeah, his newer stuff just, I don't think is all that fantastic. Suspiria is one of those movies
That's
where I'm
great.
like, yeah, it's great. I think the visuals are stunning. The use of color is awesome. And there's a lot of scary moments, like especially that beginning scene with the girl going through like the glass and all that. It's awesome. There's a bunch of stuff throughout that movie that's great, but yeah, the plot is just like, what is going on? Like, I had to watch that movie a few times to get it. Okay, sorry, I'm kind of going all over the place. I apologize, but how do you feel about the 2018 movie, the 2018 Suspiria?
It's weird. It makes a lot of interesting choices, but it's definitely not as rewatchable as the original. I never want to go back and watch that one again.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting, but I also thought it was trying too hard. And it was a little too, it wasn't fun, honestly. I mean, that's kind of the best way for me to put it. It just was not a fun time for me.
That ending, 100% trying too hard is all I could think when I was watching that ending sequence. I'm like, this does not need to be like, and listen, I just told you like an hour ago that I love seeing that sequence in horror movies where it's just a bunch of people getting murdered. There's blood going everywhere. But that scene in Suspiria just isn't, I just don't think it amounts to much. It's not it's not great at the end of the 2018 film. I will applaud Tilda Swinton for playing multiple characters in that movie. Yeah. Like she plays the dude, which I didn't even know. She's unrecognizable in all that makeup. It's awesome. So she's great. Like she's the standout performance for me, but I don't know, for the most part. Yeah, I pretty much agree. I think it's pretty not fun, just just devoid of fun.
No. Yeah. She was good though.
We have a fan of the Romero zombie films and the Dawn of the Dead remake as well. Now, going back to zombie movies, how do we feel about the Romero films? How do we feel about the Dawn of the Dead remake?
I'm a huge Romero fan. Only with his zombie films. I don't like anything else he's made. To be I like
Creepshow.
I like Creepshow. I like Crazies. Okay. But I was not a big fan of Martin. I know a lot of people love Martin, but it didn't work for me. I didn't like his newer stuff like Bruiser. I like Monkey Shines. I think that's a decent movie. Dark Half is pretty good.
Dark Half's pretty good. I like Dark Half.
Yeah, it's a weird story. I still don't understand it, but it's fine.
It's not the best Stephen King adaptation, I don't think, but it's fun. It's good. Yeah.
But in terms of his zombie movies, it stops. I like Land of the Dead, but I understand that it's definitely not a as good. But Land of the Dead is the last one that I like. After that, I pretty much hate everything. I was lucky enough to go to a premiere for Diary of the Dead. And,
man!
And he was there. I didn't get to meet him, but he was there. He did like a Q&A after, and it was a big deal because it's like, his next zombie film. And then the movie unspools. I'm like, this is awful. Like he doesn't know how YouTube works. Like it's just like it's like he just uploaded. Oh my god, we got 1 million views. This is awesome. Like that's what? It's it's not how this works. You know, and I don't know. It just felt like so like this like old man like Wah! Like you know, crying from the top of a mountain or something. It just didn't work for me. And then after that, I forget the name of the other one, Island of the Dead or whatever.
Survival of the
Yeah,
Dead or
yeah.
something. Yeah.
That was even worse. I don't know. So, but I like the original one. The original trilogy is great.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I love the original trilogy. Dawn of the Dead is definitely in like a top 10 zombie film, I think, for me personally. I really just love the balance and tone with like you have some dark scenes, you have some social commentary, you have some humor. It's great. It's all over the place. It's a masterpiece. The thing about Diary of the Dead for me though is like I think the opening scene's really cool. And then after that, I mean, it just completely loses me with every like the characters suck. The dude in the bar, like the old dude they find in the barn or whatever, and he like kills himself. It's like that was so unnecessary. You could have just turned around and bapped him in the head. You know what was that? What the whole, I don't know. That movie's insane. And then Survival of the Dead is a continuation based off of those army characters we briefly see in Diary of the Dead, which is even more unnecessary than Diary was. So I don't know. I agree with you about Land of the Dead. It's fun. But man, those other two movies, what was going on there? What was going on there?
It's rough. It's unfortunate that he went out that way, but you know, it is what it is. And then, you know, another thing that kind of sucks and isn't really spoken about is how hard it is to make a movie, even for somebody established. You know, George Romero had trouble getting a movie made, you know, and it's crazy. Like he had to fight to get money for those zombie movies. And that's what he was known for. You know, John Carpenter for the longest time, you know, before The Ward, he was fighting to try to get a whole bunch of shit made that just didn't materialize. Then The Ward came out and it kind of flopped. I mean, it's not a good movie, but you know, then he's just like, I'm done. You know, like, this is exhausting. It's tough. Wes Craven, you know, rest his soul, was the only guy who was able to make commercial movies, and what saved his career? Scream.
Yep.
If it wasn't for Scream, who knows where we would be? You know, unfortunately, because of Scream, he got My Soul to Take, but you know.
Yeah, wow, that is a fucking movie, dude.
Oh God.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened there. Didn't John Carpenter? So John Carpenter does that one, right? Or is that Wes Craven? Because I know they both do like a early 2010s or late 2000 or late thousands film that is just like, why the fuck is John Carpenter and Wes Craven directing this?
Yeah, John Carpenter did The Ward, and Wes Craven does My Soul to Take.
Okay, right. That's I get those. I literally get those movies mixed up in my brain because they're the exact same thing from like those two directors, where it's just like PG-13 garbage horror, and it's directed by these like horror legends. Like what was the scenario there? I don't know.
He was developing a movie before he passed. I believe the movie was called Sunflower, and it I forget what the pitch was, but it did not sound good. And I was like, oh man. Oh no! I really hope they don't make that, and they didn't make it, but because he passed away, which is unfortunate. But you know, it's hard, and then sometimes, you know, Scream was a gig for him. He was like, hey, you know, John Carpenter passed. Do you want to take a look at it? You know, and he's like, okay. So it's you never know, and it's such an it's an awful business. And if anybody asks, oh, should I get into the movie business? I usually say, man, you gotta be willing to suffer because this you are not gonna pay your bills. You know, the people that make a living off of this, very small, very small group of people, and I would say even 0.2% of everybody in Hollywood is trying. Even at my level, where I'm actually making films, I'm not making a livable wage. You know, I'm just making enough, you know, to consider like it's a good month. But then I got to, you know, what's next month? What's the month after that? It's tough, you know, but it's reality of the business now.
It's not consistent. You know what I mean? It's like you jump from project to project essentially. Yeah, no, I get that. It's tough. I like myself. I would love to do that one day. I would love to be part of it in some capacity. I love writing. I love playing monsters. So to do one of those things, I just think would be cool. But yeah, it's like, man, with how expensive shit is, especially in California, it's just I don't even, how is that even possible? It's tough. It's tough. Yeah. It's a really tough game out there.
Absolutely. I know a lot of people who've had to leave. They just couldn't afford to stay out here. And it was like, you know, I would say a typical day rate for even a grip is, you know, for the company I work for is maybe $150 a day. And that's, you know, if you're working 6 days, 12 days, and then that's it. And then that's not a lot of money. You could potentially make that more in retail. So and it's hard, long days. It's definitely not glamorous, and it's hard work, and that's the tough part about making the movies. And so shit falls through the cracks. And, you for the script has issues. You can't. That's how movies are made. You can't really blame everything on the creatives, because shit happens. But then that's sort of what adds the magic to movies. It's like that unspoken trying to create, trying to harness nature, trying to control nature, and tell a story, and battling those elements is where that magic lies. And stuff like Scream was able to capture it in a way that it hasn't been able to be captured since.
yeah, and you're right. I mean, it is movie magic, because it's not just how good of a screenplay can you write. It's like, is the production company cool with this? Can I do this? Is this something that's allowed? Is this something that all the actors, are they going to be down with this, or are they going to be super against? Is like, what's going to happen? There's nothing is ever exactly how it's written. I think is something that I've learned from just learning about movies and reading about them. It's just like, yeah, no movie ever made was ever exactly how it was written on the script. It's always, there's something is going to deviate, something's going to change by the end product when you go through that process. And you got to wonder, it's like, would it have been better this way? Would it have been better that way? What could Scream be even better than it is? You know what I mean? You have those questions. It's interesting. I love the whole dynamic, the psychology going into making movies is so interesting to me. Yeah. I just love it.
I mean, what if Drew Barrymore decided to keep the Sidney role?
What would that movie look like?
Exactly.
Yeah. You gotta wonder. It's interesting to talk about, for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
Wes always had issues with production companies. No idea why they micromanaged a horror legend. Seems like what we were talking about, man. It just seems like that was the case with a lot of these legends, like George Romero, like you were saying. No one would fund his movies, and it's crazy. He was very successful with a lot of his zombie films, but nope, not.
The thing is, they never trust the creatives, and the money people never trust you, which is unfortunate. But unless you're like James Cameron, who is making the biggest movies of all time, they pretty much like to macromanage everybody, and it just, after a while, you just get exhausted. Like, man, I'm no longer making my art. I'm after a while, as a writer, I'm just a typist. I'm just typing out your ideas, and it's tough. It hurts, man. It is debilitating. That's actually one of the reasons I turned to YouTube, because I was able to control my content, and not have to worry about somebody saying, oh, you can't review whatever, you can't talk about,
there's more money in this. right. Yeah.
So that's it sucks, but almost everybody I know in the business is bitter and burnt out and exhausted, but they love it so much they can't do anything else.
I totally understand that. Like, with YouTube, some days, it's just like, it's tough. I have to discipline myself to put something out like every single day, pretty much. And it's just like, oh God, it gets to the point where you're just like, I'm burnt out. Like, what else can I do? But it's fun. I love it. I can't see myself doing anything else. Like, I worked at Chipotle briefly, and I was just like, I can't do this. I can't wrap burritos the rest of my life. I have way too much fun entertaining people. I was put on this planet for that reason. I got to do it. I just got to do it. Even if I got to suffer through some crappy things here and there, so I totally get it.
Are you full-time on YouTube now?
I am.
Oh wow, nice. Man.
I hope it can last. This month is kind of a testament to that. Hopefully, I've just launched the merch store, by the way, to anyone watching this stream. That is also in the link in the description below, as well as the link to Master Chaos's YouTube channel. If I have not said that enough times, make sure to subscribe to this guy and buy a KillJoy Jake shirt. That's two.
That's awesome.
So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, that's great, man. Good luck with that, man. I'm sort of hamstrung because I can't monetize my channel, so I'm sort of like living off of Patreon stuff, if anything. So
you told me this, but are you allowed to elaborate on why? I don't think I know why.
Well, it's a weird email thing where they think I already have an AdSense account, but I don't, and there's nobody to talk to. There's no tech support. There's nobody I can call. it's just this weird thing. Like it keeps sending an email and said, no, you're not eligible for blah 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 blah, and like you have to access this email. And they gave me an email that I've never had in my life. So I'm like, how do I access that email? I don't even know. They only give you partial like letters of the email. I'm like, I've never had an email that said that. So it's a weird catch-22 where there's no way around it. And it's after that happened, I was like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. If there's no way for me to, essentially, I just love I love the community that I've built, and the friends I've made, like yourself, and I that's just what keeps me coming back. And now that I'm back in the making movie business, I can sort of like not worry so much, about not monetized, but that's fine. I've got a couple patrons who support me, and every once in a while, I can't even do super chats or memberships and shit like that. So it's tough, but I love this so much, and I love talking movies so much that it's rewarding, and it's in that way.
Yeah. Well, that's so rough. You put so much work into your videos, man. Like I've seen your videos, I've seen your live streams, and it's just like that's so crappy. It's just like you wish we could just put someone on the phone, right? Just like, I mean, I bet you could clear that up with an actual human being in like 20 minutes. You know what I mean? And it's just because YouTube doesn't have that. And that's such a shame because like myself included in this now, it's like we rely on this for income. You know what I mean? How are we supposed to support ourselves? How are we supposed to do that if we don't have some kind of tech support? We don't know the ins and outs of YouTube. Like I said, dude, I bet that's a 20-minute fix with someone who actually knows what they're doing with this platform. That sucks, man. I'm so sorry.
Another thing that sucks is a lot of my, I do mainly, I'm more of a movie review channel, and I cover physical media and things like that. But a lot of sometimes I'll show trailers of the movies I'm talking about, and just as hey, this is what I'm talking about, and I get copyright claims up the wazoo. And like if I were monetized, that would affect me, but because I'm not monetized, it doesn't necessarily hurt the video. But it's like if I were monetized, then I would have to change my content. So it's very strange. Like, how do other channels who like, how does Dead Meat get away with? Do they get copyright claims? So it's YouTube just does not help the people that it's supposed to help, and it's frustrating, dude.
Especially the small people too. Like it takes a miracle to blow up on YouTube nowadays. It's tough unless you're someone who's completely insane like I am. Oh my God. Unless you're someone completely insane like me who decides to just upload 2 videos a day. Like it's just like how else do you blow up on YouTube? You can't get a viral video anymore. My buddy is here. Hello. Hello. What is up? Hi. He said Jake. This is another Jake. He says hello.
Hey.
Oh, what's up? This is Master Chaos.
How you doing, Master Chaos?
I'm doing all right, man.
I love the background.
Thank you.
How's the streamers doing out there? How's everybody doing? Everybody tuning in?
I hope everyone's having a good time. That's the big thing.
It seems like they're having a good time. I'd be having a good time. I am having a good time.
You are? You having a good time? That's great, man. That's fantastic. Thanks for crashing the stream, man. I appreciate it. That's always fun. It's always fun when we have visitors. It's always a good time.
I love it.
Thank you for buying a shirt, Carrie. I appreciate it.
Hey.
Hell yeah. So I've never seen this movie. Have you ever seen Bug?
Yeah.
From 2006, I want to say, like that era.
There's 2 Bugs actually. There's one from I want to say late 70s, which is about roaches with fire butts. And
oh man.
So it's like they have these the big fat Madagascar roaches. They kill you by landing on you, and then like their asses have acid or something, and they burn you. That's a awesome bug movie. If you hate roaches, oh my God, that's a great one, dude. And then the William Friedkin bug is a pretty excellent movie. I'm a little disappointed that it wasn't. Well, I don't want to give spoilers away, but it's a little disappointing towards the end. But I think the performances are so awesome that it's worth a watch just for that.
So I don't talk to my cousin all that much, but I recently got in contact with him. My grandfather unfortunately passed away recently, and we everyone met up, and he was talking to me about horror movies because he had seen he saw my YouTube channel, and he's like, "Oh, Bug is my absolute favorite." He's like, "That's number 1. You got to watch it." And I'm like, "I've never seen this before. I gotta check this out." So I don't know. I hear it's good. It's his favorite horror movie, which is nuts to me. But I'm like, okay. And director of The Exorcist. Okay, good stuff.
Yeah. No, I prepare yourself because it was originally a play. so it's very stagey.
Okay.
So keep,
Okay.
keep that in mind. That was and then we'll talk about it after you see it.
I'll watch it. And we'll talk a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't want to get anymore.
That sounds good. That sounds good. We have a bunch of people buying T-shirts. Heck yeah! Thank you,
Hey.
Ghostface. You're gonna have to wear it under.
That's awesome.
He's got to wear it under the robe, unfortunately. But I appreciate it nonetheless.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Good stuff, man. I'd smash that thumb if you haven't before. Carrie tells you passionately to smash it. Yes, passionately smash that like button if you can. I would greatly appreciate it.
With passion. And now you know what's awesome about the thumbs up button? When you hit it, it's like a little firework.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's fun.
That.
I wish you got to see the dislikes though. You don't get to see the dislikes anymore.
No, I don't want to see the dislikes.
I understand that.
Like that's fine.
To me, I kind of liked knowing like if it was like, okay, is this something that people like? Is there less likes or whatever? I can see that on my videos, but like I also kind of like, I'm just kind of weird. And I like seeing it on other videos that I watch across the platform. It's like, is this something that your content, the people that watch your content like or not? I don't know. So to me, it's kind of an odd thing, but I don't know. It's fun. I like the fireworks. You know what I mean? That's fun.
Love it. It makes it so much fun. I think it's great.
Oh yeah. Some good times. I can't listen. Whatever you're handing me, I can't take it. I don't know. You're not handing me anything. Yeah, I'm so sorry. You know, it's 420. We have friends in the house who are celebrating appropriately today, and that's the case. There we go. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Goodbye. I'm on a live stream. I appreciate it. Thank you. Bye bye.
He's being professional right now. Please.
I have to be somewhat professional. I can be silly and goofy, but
you have to.
Yes, exactly. Well, Master Chaos, I feel like I'm keeping you over the time that you promised here.
That's fine, man.
Are you sure? Are you okay?
I'll go to 2 hours and then we'll
badass.
And then I'll dip out. But
you're a trooper.
I'm good for a little bit longer. Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. It's always a good time talking with you. So thank you.
Same to you, man. And I'm happy that we get to shoot the shit about kind of everything because there's a lot going on in the world of horror, and I think and a lot to be scared of.
Yes.
Frankly, like sorry to
no. Go ahead.
But, I know you're worried about this. The Exorcist trilogy coming up. Like what are they gonna do? What do you mean trilogy? Why is that trilogy?
And listen, I love David Gordon Green. I think he's great. I think he killed it with the Halloween movies for the most part so far. I still got to see Ends. You know, my opinion isn't fully developed, but no way is his style going to translate into the Exorcist movies. I'm sorry, but I don't want silly like stoner characters in the Exorcist. That's not going to work for me at all. And that's such a staple of his movies. Like to have these silly characters, like especially in the 2 Halloween movies we've seen of his. It's like he sets up these silly characters and they're doing something funny and they get murdered by Michael Myers. We see this happen a lot in Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills. We're probably going to see a lot of it in Halloween Ends. Are we going to, is that what he's going to do with The Exorcist? Is Reagan going to be a slasher now? Like, I don't want to see that. I don't think that was the right choice. I love him as a director, but not the right choice for The Exorcist movies personally.
Yeah. And you know, I'm a big fan of saying, leave it alone. You know, it's move on, find something else. You know, Scream, we didn't need part 5. It honestly, it should have just been, you know, it died with Wes. I'm happy we got the movies we got, and that's it. You don't need to keep beating a dead horse. I feel Michael Myers is so bastardized at this point that it's almost spoofy. You know, like, I mean, so, and then they said, okay, so after this trilogy, what happens? Are they going to do another trilogy? Is Jamie Lee coming back for another spinoff? Like, what are we doing? And I hope they don't bring Freddy back. I mean, even though.
Oh, really? Okay.
Would. Well, Robert said he would, but I don't know. I feel like let's get new ideas. You know, we've got Insidious. The Conjuring universe, those are new ideas. You know, let's have more of those kind of things. Malignant 2, you know, fine.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of just saying we're good with what we got. You know, we're happy with one Citizen Kane. We're happy with one Casablanca. We don't need Casablanca 6. You know, that's just. But you know, I grew up in a different era. I grew up in in the 80s where even the best movies didn't get sequels. Goonies never got a sequel. Monster Squad never got a sequel. And these are movies that are beloved, and you didn't need them. They stand on their own, and they will live forever. And one and done. I'm more than happy with. So I don't know. I feel I'm just gonna watch them out of curiosity, but I doubt they're gonna be like, oh, these are my favorite versions of these stories.
My opinion on all of it is, as long as we're still getting original horror movies, we're still getting movies that break ground. Like, I think X was a great example of that. That movie blew me away. I absolutely loved it. Great original horror flick that is now becoming a franchise, which I'm very happy with. As long as we're still getting that, I'm okay with these franchises bringing up new ideas, bringing in new directors to try different avenues. As long as it's not just a cash grab. Like, if this is Freddy Krueger 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street remake, which was just in every way a blatant cash grab, I think I'm not going to be happy with that. Don't do that. I like that we brought Radio Silence on for Scream 5. They're clearly huge Scream fans that obviously were influenced by that movie with like their film prior to Scream, Ready or Not. That had a lot of Scream roots in that film, I think, taken in its own direction. Sure. But I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that as long as we keep up the original horror films. If everything that comes out is just a sequel to something from the past, that's where I start. That's where I draw the line. That's where I'd be like, okay, now this is you're just repeating stuff. You're not giving us any new ideas. The fact that we're still getting original horror movies, they're not as popular as these requels or sequels, continuations, whatever, but they're still there. And that's why I'm okay with it. We still get movies like X. We still get movies like Malignant. And so that's why I'm okay with it, personally.
There's a lot of really great new slasher movies that are brilliant. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Happy Death Day movies.
Those are fun.
I think they did such a good job with those, and they're essentially bloodless, but they're so fun and they're so watchable. And I think that's what movies need. Number one, they have to be rewatchable to build that that cult audience. Because if you don't want to watch it again, I loved X. I don't know how rewatchable it is, but I do love that it's going to be kind of this bigger story. I think that's very exciting. So hopefully we get stuff like that. Yeah.
I agree. I think, as long as we're getting these original films, I'm cool with it. Whatever. Whatever if they put out a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie that's just like whatever. Went to Netflix. It is something. It has a lot of good kills. It has
a lot of good kills. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I mean, at least we finally got a Chainsaw Massacre. He actually kills people with a chainsaw more than once. That's pretty good.
That is technically, by definition, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So there we go. I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun. I don't know if I've talked to you about that one. Yeah. Did you like it? You liked it?
I did. It was good. I did enjoy that film. For what it was, I thought it was really good. I liked that it was sort of picking up after the first one, and he was living in this weird abandoned ghost town. The movie, I think, just production wise, felt small. It felt a little too. I don't want to say low budget, because it wasn't low budget, but it felt small. I don't know how to describe it, but it just didn't feel like a big movie to me. But the effects were great. The kills were fantastic. I love that every death was a worthy death. Like there were no throwaway kills. I like that. I think, and I think that's a sort of a failing on a lot of the Scream sequels, that a lot of the deaths feel like throwaway kills. I think part 2 has probably the most throwaway kills, but I still don't know how Maureen's boyfriend is stabbed in the ear in the bathroom. That doesn't make any sense. That guy's got to be strong to
go all the way through the thing like that.
And to know he's going to be right there, I don't know. But, I thought it was good. For a Chainsaw movie, I thought it was fun. I thought it was a fun movie.
Yeah, it has its problems, but like, to me, I can look past that because of the kills. And listen, the scene on the party bus, that was like worth the price. I'm so glad I paid for Netflix that month. That scene alone was like, okay, you know what? I'm so glad I'm here. I wish they wouldn't have spoiled most of it in the trailer, but I was still just like, fuck yes, let's go. This is what I paid for. Hell yeah. Jen, we are still going, believe it or not. I believe Master Chaos has to dip now. You made it to the 2-hour mark. The marathon is over for you. I appreciate that though. Regardless.
That's awesome, man. No, well, like I said, I've gone 12 hours. I went 8 hours, my last long one. Actually, I have one coming up at the end of May. There's a halfway to Black Friday sale that's happening on this website. So I'll be going pretty long for that one. But I'm, let me know when you want me back on. We'll be ramping up production pretty fast in terms of, I have a lot of shit to respond to, but I'll get to it later. Yeah. So I don't know how much time I'll have, but I definitely want to chat with you again about everything because there's so much happening. Oh, somebody had a question in the chat. I don't remember who it was. Oh, Austin 530. Let's make sure I grab that one.
Master Chaos's favorite horror movie.
Yes.
There we go.
Well, easy. I have two, and sometimes they switch places, but so I'm going to say both: Jaws and Scream. My absolutely
nice.
The two that I've seen the most over and over and over. I never get tired. Of seeing both in theaters. I mean, I wasn't old enough to see Jaws initially, but living in LA, they play it out here every July 4th. So, and taking my kids to see it. I mean, it's such a masterpiece of a movie. So to be able to experience that over and over is wonderful. I love those movies very, very much. But those are easy answers. I feel like that's almost everybody's favorite. What would be your favorite, Jake?
I love Jaws. I mean, that is just it really, like you said, I mean, it's just a masterpiece of a movie. I think in every capacity. I love the characters. I love the kills. Everyone's criticism of that movie is the shark looks fake. I don't think it looks that fake. I mean, listen, I have seen other monster movies where the monster does look very, very fake. This one, I think it looks pretty good. I think for what it is, I just love this film. It's a masterpiece of a creature feature. It's probably the best of all time. Yeah. Alligator being a close second, of course. Yeah. But I love Jaws. I really do enjoy, like, for some more modern stuff like Hereditary, and really the majority of A24 horror releases I'm pretty impressed by for the most part. I will say with that production company, they're pretty hit or miss for me. Like Saint Maud, loved. Hereditary, loved. The Lighthouse, loved. The Monster, oh my God, what a fucking train wreck of a movie. I
don't even know that one.
It's called The Monster, and it's just, I mean, it's horrendous. I just don't, like, I hate crapping on movies. I like to be so positive on here, but like, man, I couldn't get into that. The characters just hate each other, and the entire movie is about them hating each other. And like, it's one of those movies where it's like they're shitting on each other the whole movie, and they're trying to fight against this monster. It's like a mom and her daughter, and then like in the end, like their relationships, I guess, a little better. I won't spoil it. It's worth a watch, but I just was not impressed with that movie at all personally. And it's A24, man, and I hold them to a higher standard because like I said, of recent years, of the past 5 years, I would say some of my favorite horror movies have come from that company. And for them to put out something like that, it was just like, ugh. And Lamb was, I didn't hate Lamb.
Yeah.
If you saw that, I appreciated it. But did you liked it? You really liked it?
I really liked that movie. Because I like how weird it gets. It just reminded me of like old fashioned Cronenberg, just kind of like, God, this is a strange idea. I really like this.
That's what I appreciated that about it too. It was like, for me, it was a little long for what it was. You know, you had to give me something else there, but it was really interesting. And like, it has, I've never seen a horror movie give you a wholesome moment with its like lead thing that is so odd. There's so many moments like that where you don't know if you're like, is this cute or is this creepy? I can't tell. And that question alone kept me interested throughout the whole film. I'll say that.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's a movie that you have to be ready for, but I wasn't sure where it was going. I'm not going to say anything about the ending. I was like, man, that's what's happening here? I want to know more. So I don't know. I thought it's a weird ass movie, but it's one of those, and like, I don't know how the script got made, but I'm glad it
did. Yeah, I totally agree. It's very just a strange movie, but it was fun. It was fun. Like I said, I love A24. There's some good movies come out of them. But yeah, 70s and like 2010s, those are like my two favorite times for horror movies. A lot of the stuff that came out in those time periods, that's typically my favorite shit. That's what I like to watch the most, I think. So
I'm an 80s guy. So usually, and then that's when I write. I on my writing feels very 80s, and I'll have the producers tell me, you're making a modern movie, so I'll have to tone it down. But I always lean towards 80s stuff. It hit me at the right time where it spoke to me. It just spoke to my sensibilities of what I liked and what I enjoyed. So 80s for me all the way.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, that's, easily one of the best times for horror, I think.
Yeah.
I'm an underdog kind of guy myself. I love the 70s, I love the 2010s, whatever. But I like the 80s. It's like, come on. Come on, man. Oh my God. Some great shit there. Well, I don't want to keep you any longer because I basically already kept you 36 minutes extra. I feel bad at this point. I'm just oh my God.
No, it's all good, man. An honor and a pleasure, and I'll keep you posted on my end. And I mean, obviously, we're in different coasts, but if you ever wanna make some movies and you want to come down my way, let me know because I could definitely get you on some productions.
Yeah.
So we'll make it happen.
I'll be tree number 7 if you want me to be. I don't care. I just I love the environment. If I can be in that environment, I'll do it. I'll do it to be tree number 7.
I agree. Hopefully we can afford real trees, but if we need
but if not,
we need human trees. You're the guy. Yeah.
Be like, listen, I can save us a shit ton. I know this guy. He loves playing trees. He's awesome.
He's my tree guy. He's the guy.
Perfect. That's fantastic, man. What? Yes, of course. It's always a pleasure talking to you about movies, man. Seriously, anytime you're allowed on here. Anytime you want to stream with me, hell yeah. One more thing I want to do before he goes is make sure to subscribe to Master Chaos. The link for that is questionably in the description below. If not, just look up Master Chaos TV. The guy should come up. Subscribe to his page. He does some awesome live streams and some awesome videos as well. So check him out. Check him out if you have not.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone hanging out with us and everyone who I've met today. I love you very much. Take care of yourselves. Jake, I love you as well. And
I love you.
And we'll talk soon. You enjoy the rest of your stream, and I'll be checking in here and there to see how long you're going.
Hopefully not too much longer. I think I only have like 20 minutes. I'm gonna do a little Q&A, ask some questions, answer some questions and all that. It's gonna be fun.
There
It's
you
gonna
go.
be a good time.
So. There you go. All right, man. Do I boot myself out or do you boot me out? How does this work?
That's a great question. I could just boop you out if you want. I think I hit a list. All right. Well, peace. Love you too. Everybody. We'll see you, man. There we go. Okay. So I've removed him from the stream, but I think he has to actually leave himself. But yes, there we go. Thank you to everyone who's been here. I'm going to stay for another 20 minutes because that is where the super chats have kept us. So I will answer any questions that you guys may have. Throw every question you possibly can think of at me. KillJoy Jake, I had a theory about who I think one of the killers will be in Scream 6. The killer going after Gale, remember the camera guy from the first movie, her sidekick Kenny from the first movie. I could see Joel being maybe a killer or something. Maybe Joel, like what has Joel been doing all this time from Scream 2? You know what I mean? I believe Kenny died in the first film. But I could see Joel possibly filling those shoes. I could see him going out and killing people. That could be fun. I would just love to see more Dwayne Martin. I think he really steals the show with his scenes in Scream 2. He's great. You're here now, Damon. We're still going strong for another 20 minutes. We're going. We're going. What's up, Kyle? How's it going? Next Scream will be in New York City college scene. I could see it happening, man. I could see it happening. If that was the case, that would be sweet, man. What's up, Corey? What's up? Sending good vibes from Winnipeg. As always, I appreciate that, Corey. Thank you for stopping by the stream. Radley's Vlogs 2, Scream 6, Stu lives. Just like we resurrect him the same way, too, and as in Jason Lives. We stick a big metal post in him, and then lightning just comes down, and bam, Stu's back to life. Zombie Stu. Have I seen Adam Wingard's The Guest? That is probably the only Adam Wingard movie I have not seen. It's been on the list for a very long time. I've seen scenes from it. I basically know what it's about. It looks amazing. I love Adam Wingard. I think everything he directs is just fantastic. Is Adam Wingard one of the best horror filmmakers working today? Listen, man. Adam Wingard made a lot of really good films. I love a lot of the things that he does. Your Next is, I believe, one of his first directorial movies, because Adam Wingard did he was on VHS, I believe, and then he does a skit in VHS 2 as well. But I know he did Your Next, he did The Guest, he did Blair Witch, he directed that film, the Blair Witch 2016 movie. I really enjoy everything he does, and I think Adam Wingard also directed Godzilla vs. Kong, which is That's such a studio movie. You know, it's kind of like you can't really judge the guy based off of that film. Is how I feel about it. I still like it. You know, it was fun. It was a good time. All the new Godzilla movies and you know the King Kong movie that we got recently. Those are good. You know, I prefer the older ones a lot more than the new ones. The special effects looks amazing in all the new Godzilla movies. But yeah, the old school Godzilla is where it's at, man. That original Godzilla movie is horrifying. I love that film. Great movie. Guess is one of your favorite films of all time. See, I gotta watch this, Aiden. I gotta watch this. Gotta do it. Angie says, I noticed in Scream 5 that when the friends leave to go to the hospital, Amber is in front of them and is on the phone. Could she be on the phone with Tara to check up on her, or Richie to pan things? There's a lot of stuff like that, Angie. There's a lot of weird stuff throughout the film where we see Amber and Richie even just like having weird lines of dialogue that it's like if you go back and rewatch it, it's like, oh, that was always there this whole time. I think there's a lot of really fun things about Scream 5. I really enjoy it. It's a fun thing. I really enjoy the movie a lot. I dog on it a little bit. You know, it has its problems here and there, but I think it's a really just great movie that breathed new life into this somewhat dead franchise. I'm glad it's back. I love Scream. Oh man, Fate Decided. God, I just love this guy. I enjoy everything you do. Jeez, I would just give this guy a kiss on the forehead if he was here. Do you think we may get a Jason Takes Manhattan homage if they choose New York as the main destination? Listen, Alvin, if they have a scene where Ghostface punches off somebody's head, I don't think I can get into that. I don't think that's the same as what Jason Takes Manhattan is. You know what I mean? Like that's just not. That's so out there. That's so whack. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. It would be fun though. Might be fun. I have changed my mind about Mindy. At first, I wanted her as a final girl, but on reflection, her performance in Yellow Jacket, I see her as a killer. Says Jen Warner. I mean, listen. I wouldn't say it's. I don't think we're at a point to rule that out. I don't think we can rule that out quite yet. Okay, something I want to plug real quick. I'm wearing this shirt and I completely remembered. I just remembered why after looking at it in the stream. One of my favorite rappers of all time is playing in Toledo tonight. I was unable to make the show. Gas is very expensive right now, and I'm about 2.5 hours from Toledo in Ohio. But this guy's amazing. Yurty G. Highly recommend looking him up and following him if you like rap music. Yurty is spelled I said Ye. Yerrty G. Just the letter G. Check him out. His music's great. I love it. He's amazing. Huge fan. He's a huge fan of the channel too, which means a lot to me. He's playing in Toledo tonight. He's probably live right now. He's fantastic. Guy's great. I feel so bad I couldn't make his show. So instead of that, I'm wearing his merch. Outside Gang. Let's go. So check him out. You're in Ohio too. Nice. Cincinnati. I'm in Cleveland. I live in Cleveland. It's scary here, but it's fun. Blair Witch 2016 is a really good sequel, and that ending scared the crap out of me. Dude, Aiden, I'm sure that if you were watching the Blair Witch Project, the original one, in the theaters back in 1999, and you're watching that and you're thinking it's real, that's super scary. I bet that was horrifying to some people. But man, that 2016 movie is what really scares me. That's fucking horrifying. I think that's terrifying, that and the whole ending sequence of that movie. The build up to it isn't great. Like there's some parts where it's kind of slow and it's kind of like, okay, these characters aren't fantastic or the most well-written characters, but I 100% love the ending of that movie. That is why I love that film so much. It is horrifying. The design of the witch is so scary, and to see it actualized is something I really liked about the ending of that. Do you ever go to Cedar Point and hit up their epic coasters or Kings Island? Yes, I love Cedar Point. I have not been in a very long time, surprisingly. I've not been since before like the pandemic, just because I haven't had time. I haven't had money. That's a big thing. I've been broke for the past like 3 years pretty much. But yeah, I love Cedar Point. I've never been to Kings Island, surprisingly. That's like an hour and a half away from me. And well, I guess that's 2 hours because that's between Columbus and Cincinnati, if I remember correctly. But Kings Island sounds awesome though. Here's some good stuff is out there. The Marvel Lord, what's up? What's up? What's up? Recently watched X and have to say Jenna Ortega should have lived. I don't think so, man. Jenna Ortega's character sucks, as well as her boyfriend. They both suck. I mean, they're written well. They're written very well, but the character choices, without spoiling anything, wow, that's crappy. Some crappy character choices right there from both of those characters. Cedar Point has the better coasters than Kings Island. I live close to Kings Island. You live close to there. Okay. Love Cedar Point. It's really fun there. I'm an adrenaline junkie. Like I do everything at Cedar Point. For the first time I did the bungees, like the bungee thing. Like I want to say this was like 2 summers ago, like 3 summers ago. I can't count. However many summers it's been since 2019, I believe I did the bungee, the bungee swinging back and forth or whatever. That was like the most fun thing. I will literally every time I go to Cedar Point, I will do that from now on. I will pay the $25 to do that because wow, that was fun. According to writer Simon Barrett, that creature in the 26 film wasn't the witch, but it could be anyone. I like to think the creature was Heather possessed by the witch. Listen, man, it looked like a witch. Whatever it was scary as fuck. So to me, it looks like a witch. But you know what? If Simon Barrett says it's not, I guess it's not. He's the writer. I'm here to watch Jacob, says Ghostface. I'm glad because there's a lot of Jacob to be watched. Oh my god. The Miz lives in Cleveland. Yeah, doesn't the Miz doesn't he run like some kind of like show, some kind of podcast or something? I feel like I know about that. I don't follow wrestling at all. Like it's just not something that's ever interested me. I know a lot of horror fans really love wrestling as well because of the brutality of it, of course. Just something I never could get into, unfortunately. You probably saw if you were here in the stream earlier, my buddy Jake is around. Making sure he's doing okay. So I'm just gonna send him a quick text message, but then I'm gonna answer any and all questions you have sending my way. I like your new video on Halloween Ends. Thank you, Thrill Seeker. I appreciate that. Come on up. Is what I'm gonna text Jake. There we go. Thank you so much for watching that. I greatly appreciate it. I did one kind of pitch in like a theory about like when the trailer's gonna come out and talking about like what I want to see from it. At CinemaCon, we might be getting, the rumor has it we might be getting something. I don't think we're getting the full-length trailer at this point, but probably the teaser is my guess. I talked a little bit about that in a video from yesterday, and I talked about one today, talking about some news about Nick Castle talking about this surprise twist ending we're getting. And that's really interesting to me, if it has a twist. I was not expecting to be calling the ending of Halloween Ends a twist. I wasn't thinking that was the route they were going to go. But if that's the way they do it, I'm down. I'm down to see something different. If it's not just Michael Myers maybe getting killed and then like we see him twitch or something and then the music starts playing and then the breathing happens. If it's something different than that, okay, I'm down. It's got to be good though. You got to execute it well, man. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see what they do. Any Saw news? No, pretty much all of the Saw news that we've been getting recently about Saw X, Saw 10, whatever they want to call this thing, has pretty much come from writer Josh Stolberg, who's, like I said, going to be the writer. I don't know who's going to direct this new movie because, to my knowledge, Darren Lynn Bousman, whatever his name is, directed the last one. I can't remember who directed Jigsaw, though, off the top of my head. I don't know if it was him. I don't know there's no director attached to the project. If I had to guess, probably Darren Lynn Bousman, unless he gets this Leprechaun deal that he's been talking about. He really wants to make a Leprechaun movie. Totally down to see what he does with that. But I said, what if Kenny had a daughter or niece who is out to kill Gale because they hold her responsible for his death? I feel like that's like, listen, if you have a Gale-centered movie, that's got something like that has to be the case, right? It has to be something along those lines of it's someone from her past that wants to kill Gale. I think that the whole daughter, niece, mother, father character thing, that's the killer. We've seen that already. And I know some people loved it. Some people love Mrs. Loomis. I just think she's way too over the top. There's a point where these movies can get too goofy. There's a point where the Scream films can get too goofy. And that to me is just a really silly thing. Like I lost it in Scream. Like the movie lost me when Mickey goes, Billy's mother. Like it's so, I don't know. It's like they're making fun of how ridiculous it is within the movie, and I just can't get behind it. I was taking the movie seriously up until that point, but I love Scream 2 regardless. I think even though you have that, the whole movie up until that point I think is fantastic. 10 out of 10. Great sequel until you get to the twist. You know, I don't know. Not the biggest fan of it. Guys who made Daybreakers and Predestination made Jigsaw. Josh Stolberg wrote it though. I know that offhand. I don't know the Daybreakers. I feel like I've heard of that before, but I'm going to look this up because I'm curious. I know like Stolberg did the last 2 installments. He wrote them. I thought like for whatever reason, I thought he might've been directing this, but why? When you look up Jigsaw 2017, it does not bring up the movie. That is very strange. directed by Michael Spierig, who is probably the person that did that. Interesting. Okay, I'll have to look into some of his stuff. Do you know when a trailer for Bodies, Bodies, Bodies might drop? So the movie comes out in early August, if I'm remembering correctly. I want to say early August. So we're probably going to get a trailer like late May, June. We might get it with the release of Men, Alex Garland's new film, also from A24. That would make a lot of sense, I think. If A24 is also distributing that movie, they're doing Bodies, 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 they're doing Men. I could see them releasing a trailer around the time that movie comes out, which, if I'm remembering correctly, Men also comes out it comes out late May. Late May? I want to say late May. When that movie comes out, we'll probably get a trailer for Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is my guess. Once again, A24's take on Scream. I'm very excited to see it. Murder mystery style killing slasher. So I'm excited to see it, man. I'm pumped. JJ, you're already talking about the sequel. We haven't even seen the first one yet. Can you be in it? I don't even know if we listen. Here's my thing. Like, I don't even know if we can make the sequel because, like, I can't tell you why, but we would need a big budget. We would need a ridiculously big budget. That's the only way. That's the only way we could do it. Only way I would continue that is if we got a ridiculous, like, almost actual blockbuster movie budget. That's the only way I would continue the story. And I won't say why, but that's why. Is the ending the most important part of a horror film that has to be done right? Well, Aiden, that's a great question, man. I think it really depends on the horror flick. Like, if you have, like, for example, Ty West, he loves doing slow burns. If you saw X, you're very familiar with that slow burn concept. If you watch some of his other movies, they're even slower than X. Like, The House of the Devil I love it personally. I think because of the ending, it's so good. But if it was just the character development and the girl walking through the house and finding out something is amiss, I don't think I would love it as much. I think the reason I like Ty West movies is because of the punch at the end. But not every movie is about that. There's a lot of ways to scare people. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And there's this misconception about screenwriting that, like, you have to do it one way. There's so many ways to write a good script. There's also way more ways to write a bad script. That's the thing. I think that's the thing you have to learn when writing a screenplay. You have to look at what scared people in the past. What directors do you like? Figure out what was going on inside their head. Why did they make the script the way they did to scare you? What was so scary about it? And I agree, Corey. I think X was perfectly paced. Ty West is always on the slower side with a lot of his movies, but X was the first movie where I think he just got the slow burn perfect, 10 out of 10. So House of the Devil definitely dips in the second act a little bit after, I won't say who, but there's a character that dies who's pretty interesting, and then she dies, and then the movie kind of dips a little bit for me, but it's still good. I really enjoy it. Yes, and Aiden, I totally agree. House of the Devil's ending is awesome. It's so crazy. It gets so crazy so fast. Well, not really that fast, but I love the ending. It's great. Makes it for me. But if a movie has a bad ending, like Halloween Kills, in my opinion, I think the ending to that movie doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's still good. It's still a really fun movie. It's scary for something else, for another reason. You have to, however many good positive things you can put into your script, do it, as long as it makes sense. If it's too jumbled up with ideas, it's too jumbled up. You have to cut it down to like a few things that are really well executed. Something I was talking about the other day with Get Out. I think Get Out is an amazing screenplay, so worthy of the Oscar. It's amazing. One of the things that movie does this is a common thing you'll see in horror movies or just movies in general, is you'll see like something will get set up, so a line of dialogue, for instance, at the beginning. For example, in Get Out, we have our main character, Daniel Kaluuya's character. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Talks about how his mother got like killed in a car accident. And it comes back later on during the hypnosis scene. Like the girl from the family, the mom character, uses that against him to kind of put him in a trance and all that. But then it comes back again for that thing at the ending, which if you've never seen Get Out, there's something really big at the ending that probably changes the whole dynamic of that ending sequence because of that. Once again, that's genius to me. You're taking a trope that is commonly used in screenplays to do something interesting, and you're making it even bigger. Once again, you're using that same thing to loop twice like that, for some come back for multiple purposes throughout a script. That's amazing writing. Jordan Peele does that in Us as well. I think the script for Get Out is better than Us, but I also feel like the concept for Us was better than Get Out. I love those movies. I love both those movies. I'm so pumped for Nope. Cannot wait. Do you think it would be funny to make a scary movie about a YouTuber who talks about scary movies and gets targeted by a serial killer for unknown reasons? That, I mean, how meta? How meta would that be? I'd be down for that. That'd be fun. If you guys have ever seen Spree with Joe Keery is very similar to that. Very similar, except the YouTuber is the serial killer in that scenario. What's your favorite Jason Voorhees mask? Oh, that's really tough because there's a lot of good ones, I think. I'm in the minority about this probably, but I actually love the Sackhead mask in part 2. I think there's something so scary about that. Just the one eye hole too. Something's just really disturbing about that to me. The hockey mask is iconic, of course. I mean, come on. How could I have a problem with that? But man, there's something about that, the bag over his head in part 2. There's something scary about that. I love it. I think it's a really cool design. And it's so interesting that the first 3 movies you get a different killer that looks different in all 3 of those movies with the Friday franchise. How many slasher franchises do that? How many slasher franchises do that? That's crazy. There's a part of me that would love to see if every sequel he gets a different mask. What would that look like? Like what would that franchise be if there was a different like kind of killer with a different mask? How could you do that as a franchise? I'm curious to work around that idea. That would be original. That would be different to do a whole franchise like that. When the creatures from Us started that weird talking, it totally took me out of the movie. I've heard a few people say this, No Walk. I don't know. I can see how some people might think it's silly, but considering how the movie like the first time I watched it, I was kind of like whacked out with that scene. It was weird how it's staged as well. How like the family just kind of sits down on the couch and all that. I feel like that scene is definitely staged kind of weird, but it's creepy. The more I watch it, the more I'm like, okay, this is pretty creepy. This is pretty good. But that movie scares the hell out of me. There's some fucking awesome sequences. The family just all getting murdered in the glass house or whatever in that one shot. Oh God. I mean, holy shit. That's one of the scariest things I've seen in a modern horror movie in a very long time. There's some great stuff about Us. I think the plot is awesome. People have said there's plot holes. I don't see any plot holes personally. I think it's great. I don't know. I love it. Jason's face is terrifying without a mask. Yes, I agree. I've always loved the Friday movies where you get to see his face at some point. I think part 7 is probably the biggest example of that, when it literally gets just like, what's her name? I can't remember, the Carrie ripoff character who uses her mind powers to rip the mask in half, and you just see that face. It's like, oh God, holy crap. Kane Hodder is fantastic, by the way. I'm going to go for one more minute, unless someone throws a super chat in there, like I said, but ya boy's a bit tired. And listen, everybody, I probably can't say this on YouTube, but it is 420, and I plan on celebrating a little bit tonight. If you catch my drift. Corey, this question's going to be my last unless I get a super chat in the next 40 seconds. Are you a fan of the I Spit on Your Grave movies? Like, yes and no. I think that subgenre that focuses on a certain very horrible thing is a bit much for a horror movie. I think you gotta draw the line between something scary and something fun and scary, something people actually want to watch. And that movie crosses that line for me in a bad way. I think it goes too far into the dark area. Like your movie, like I like movies that are dark. I love movies like that, but I think that movie goes a little too far, as well as The Last House on the Left, another movie that I just feel like goes a little too far to make that movie happen. I just don't love that. I don't love that subgenre. The only movie in that subgenre I really enjoyed was Revenge on Shudder. Revenge is really well done. I really enjoyed that movie. If you guys have not seen that, I recommend it. Yeah, I'm not going to say what it's revenge for, but I think you catch my drift if you've seen any of those 3 movies I've mentioned. But yeah, anyways, that's a weird note to end on. Happy 420, everybody. I hope you all celebrate responsibly and have a nice night. So thank you guys so much for coming to the stream tonight. I greatly appreciate it. Massive thanks to Jason Dyer and everybody else. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a long day. I'm a little tired. But to everyone who put in super chats, I greatly appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching as well. Oh, my God. I mean, the fact that I get to hang out with people every Wednesday or so, I appreciate it. Jay, listen, if you go for 40, if you give me a $40, I'll go for another 40 minutes, man. I'll do it. You got about 10 seconds to do that. Thank you, guys. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, JJ, thank you. Thank you very much. I love everybody. Thank you. Much love, everybody. Peace out. Yeah, okay, I'm giving you 5 more seconds, then we're ending the broadcast. Okay, love you guys. Peace.